Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm so excited to see and sense the excitement in the room. You can almost touch it. Thank you so much for coming. We would like to start the program now. And I can feel an echo in the sound, so if our technicians at the back could help us fix that. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon once again. Bon après-midi à tous. Nice, okay. All right, so my name is Doreen Odongo. A very, very warm welcome to you. As we say in Nairobi, Karibuni Sana. We are so excited that you're here, and we are more excited that you are excited. I can see a lot of excitement in the room, a lot of animated smiles and talks. Thank you for coming to join us in this celebration, in this party actually. Yeah? This is a party. As you will hear, we are here to launch our strategy 2023-2027. And as you will hear, this has been a process that started almost a year ago. And for sure, we are very, very excited to launch it today, and that you could find time to join us from your busy schedule to come and celebrate with us. So like I said, my name is Doreen Odongo. I work with the ward. I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the moderator today, together with Muihaki and Janet, who will introduce themselves shortly. So before we officially start, I just wanted to give an overview of the program so that you know what to expect. As you may be aware, one of our core businesses is fellowships, right? And so we work with amazing researchers from across Africa. And today we want to hear from some of those African researchers who are leading research on some of the most pressing needs across the continent on agri-food systems, climate change. So we'll have a session of stories. I love stories. Are you excited? Right. So we'll hear from some of our fellows in the One Planet Fellowship as we get into the segment that will include now us hearing about the strategy. What is in it for us in 2023, 2027? What are we planning to do? What role do you have in there? Yeah, and how did this process come about? So we'll have a couple of our partners that we've been working with who will speak, and you'll get to hear from them. And then at the end of the program at around 5 p.m., we have a cocktail. Like we said, this is a celebration, and we are all invited to the celebration. Please make sure you join us in the celebration. It will not be complete before you come in, before you join the cocktail. A few announcements. We are streaming the event live. We are live on YouTube as we speak. I think there was a QR code somewhere, but we are live on YouTube. Feel free to X away, is it X? Tweet away. The hashtag is Gender in Ag, hashtag Gender in Ag, hashtag Award Strategy 2023. Please help us share the celebration with the ones who are not in the room physically. We also have one of our speakers is joining us virtually. Dr. Jemima Njuki is already online. Thank you so much, Jemima, for joining us very early in the morning. Thank you so much. We have, as you have noticed, we have photographers on site. We are taking photos. We also post on our website or on our socials. If you do not wish to appear on any of the photos online, please feel free to get in touch with any of our colleagues at the back or any of the photographers and let them know that you do not wish for your photos to be online. Yes, and so I think we are ready to start the party, right? So we start with the exciting part of hearing the stories. But before that, we are very delighted and honored to have Dr. Eliane Ubalujoro join us. Dr. Eliane Ubalujoro is the CEO of ICRAF and the Director General of ICRAF, who is our host. We are very honored that you took the time to join us today. Please come. And she will give us opening remarks.
Good afternoon,
I forgot to say that we are providing language support, interpretation services, English and French. Please feel free to use the gadgets at home on your seat if you would like to listen in French. We will have some speakers who will come on stage that will be speaking in French. Please feel free to use them if you would like to listen in English. Thank you.
Je vais en profiter pour dire bonjour à tout le monde en français. Hello everyone, it's my distinct pleasure to join today for the launch of the new award strategy. For the past 15 years, Award has equipped women agricultural scientists in Africa with the tools they need to change catalysts in their countries and regions. With an emphasis both on strengthening research skills and leadership skills, Award is contributing to efforts to improve the well-being of African smallholder farmers and in supporting the next generation of trailblazing African women leaders in science and young leaders. As an African scientist myself, I believe deeply in the critical need to take our collective learnings and make them available to those who need it. First and foremost, it's a matter of justice and equity. Every corner of our globe should have equal access to the scientific advancements that can improve lives and safeguard our planet. Further, partnering with African women scientists to support their talent is not just an investment in the future of our planet. It's a commitment to addressing the pressing challenges of our time while partnering with the brilliant minds of Africa to lead the way. At C4ICRAF, it's a pleasure, a true pleasure to host Award. What began as a system-wide program hosted by ICRAF to support all the CGIAR centers to be conducive workplaces for women to thrive and foster diversity and belonging has become a career development program for African women scientists in leadership. In fact, there are several C4ICRAF scientists who are award fellows and mentors, including Joan Cherono, Douglas Bwire, and Marion Jenga, among others. And the C4ICRAF Africa Director, Dr. Peter Menang, sits on the advisory panel of one of the program's fellowships. On my own journey, I have come a long way from being a 17-year-old undergraduate student studying agriculture, where none of my professors who taught me looked like me, and where I mostly was unaware of many of the pioneering women who paved the way for me. I sometimes felt apologetic for being me. In my body and going on to pursue a master's and a PhD in molecular genetics, later on becoming a research scientist and professor leading teams in the biotechnology sector, in academia, and in the nonprofit sector. As the first African woman to lead a CGIAR center, I'm today the dream of my 17-year-old self. But what's really critical is I don't want my experience to be an exception or an anomaly. As women in science, women leaders, it's our duty to clear the path for those who come after us. I have had the opportunity between now and then to learn about and work with many pioneering scientists that came from marginalized backgrounds. The power of knowing that leadership can look like any one of us without bias as we navigate the world is not to be underestimated. And that is why Award has such a unique and critical space, navigating the nexus of gender and research. As it was born from C4ICRAF, it's perhaps of no surprise that there is a great deal of collaboration. Award recently designed a mentoring program for C4ICRAF staff globally, offering early and mid-career staff mentorship opportunities with seasoned staff. We have also sponsored our women scientists and non-scientists to attend award negotiations and leadership courses, among many other initiatives, and we look forward to many more, including continued collaboration around enhancing capacities for our staff to be better leaders and to guide gender-responsive research. I'd like to give a big thank you to Dr. Suzanne Correa, Awards Director, for her dedication and for the wonderful partnership. It's always a pleasure, always a pleasure. Suzanne's energy is just radiant and is inspiring. And in a world where so much difficulty is around, having leadership that radiates, that inspires us, that is hopeful, is something we cannot underestimate. And I'd like to congratulate the award team for a trailblazing 15 years. We look forward. We look forward to the next 15 and to continuing to support women agricultural scientists in Africa, because we know that Mother Africa and the planet needs you, that the children of this world need this work to have strong and nutritious diets so they can grow up and contribute in the most effective ways to help us in the agenda for the planet and for humanity. So thank you all for what you do, for everybody here that supports Award, for the partnerships, whether you're funders, whether you're in the steering committee, however you've done, thank you. Thank you. Asante sana.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ubalijoro, for confirming and endorsing that our work is not yet done, and for taking us through your story and for really setting the scene for us, because we are just getting into the segment of the storytelling. And so without further ado, I would like to invite Mwihaki, and Mwihaki will invite Janet, and they'll tell us more about the session.
Thank you, Doreen, and good afternoon to everybody. And good morning to those online, or good evening. So, stories. Most of us, when we think about stories, we think about children. We don't think about scientists. And the people who are going to share their stories today are scientists who didn't think that they were going to be forced to become storytellers. But they have taken on the challenge admirably. And my colleague Janet and I have spent the last month working with them, giving them a hard time, because you know when you work with people who are used to evidence-based data, you know, presentations with, you know, flip charts and PowerPoints, and then you tell them, I want to hear about you. And then they tell you, that wasn't the training I was coming for. But they took it on. And so we had the pleasure of working with scientists from the award community and the One Planet Fellowship from across Africa. And we got to hear the most important thing, which is their why. Why is it that they do the work that they do? And for many of them, quite honestly, they had forgotten what their why was. And for many of them, they said, I don't actually think I have a why. I've just found myself along this path. But in taking time to delve into our pasts, our experiences, our challenges, our role models, we come to understand that actually we stand where we do because of the stories of our lives. And this afternoon, we have the pleasure of listening to stories from around the continent about their whys. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work. In fact, I will be honest, on their behalf, not on behalf of the on behalf of the 30 people who we worked with, that they thought that it would be easy. They thought that storytelling is, you know, it's natural. I'll just stand up and tell my story. And then they learned that there's frameworks, there's tools, there's reasoning, you know, and then the scientists in them started coming away. They're like, I can work with a structure, I can work with a framework, I can work with a tool. And at the end of it, find a way to build a story. This is the third time that we've had the pleasure of sharing stories on the award stage, and I'm really glad that we get to do it once again. My colleague Janet will come and introduce the first of our storytellers.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Bon après-midi, bonsoir plutôt, pour les francophones dans la salle. I'm going to introduce our first speaker in French, if that's okay, because she is a French speaker. Elle s'appelle Fatoumata Ouattara. Elle est doctorante en amélioration végétale à Pan-African University au Nigeria. Elle nous apprend une leçon très importante sur l'importance de l'éducation. Faites la bienvenue, soyez la bienvenue, Fatoumata.
C'était à Famienco, un village situé à l'est de la Côte d'Ivoire. Un matin, Jomon décida d'aller à l'aventure à la capitale. Arrivé à la capitale, il développa la passion pour les voitures et devint ainsi chauffeur de taxi. Un jour, il est informé qu'un grand homme du pays était à la recherche d'un chauffeur personnel expérimenté. Alors Jomon se dit, voilà une opportunité qui va changer ma vie. Pendant le processus de sélection, Jomon est confronté à plusieurs adversaires tout autant expérimentés que lui. Mais à la dernière minute de l'étape de sélection, Jomon est à égalité avec Zongo. Alors le sélectionneur, pour les départager, tendit à chacun une feuille et un stylo. Tout d'un coup, Jomon se mit à trembler et il s'écroula après avoir entendu la question posée par le sélectionneur. Apeuré, le sélectionneur s'approcha de lui pour s'enquérir de son état. Et c'est là que Jomon lui expliqua que de là d'où l'école est un tabou et qu'il ne sait ni lire ni écrire. Alors comment pourrait-il écrire son nom comme on le lui demandait? C'est ainsi que Jomon perdit le poste et vit son rêve s'effriter. Tout triste et découragé, Jomon se fit la promesse de scolariser tous ses enfants afin qu'aucun d'eux ne vive la même situation que lui dans le futur. C'est ainsi que Fatoumata et ses frères connurent la scolarisation. Mais l'histoire ne s'arrête pas là. Des années plus tard, Fatoumata, la plus jeune fille de Jomon, à chaque fois qu'elle se rendait à Famienco, ne manquait pas de se rendre dans les champs pour admirer les plants d'igname, de piments, d'aubergines et bien d'autres. Cependant, un jour dans ses balades dans les champs, elle rencontra des plants d'igname totalement effeuillés, présentant des tiges à l'aspect brûlé. Et plus de 80% des champs présentaient le même phénomène. Quelque temps plus tard, le village qui avant, à cette période de l'année, serait très animé, était totalement différent cette année-là. Eh bien, la raison, c'est que les récoltes ne furent pas du tout bonnes. Les quelques plants d'igname qui avaient produit des tubercules n'avaient pas de bonne qualité pour la consommation. La prestigieuse fête de l'igname, cette année-là, se vit être annulée. La tristesse pouvait se lire sur les visages des paysans, car l'igname est la principale culture. Alors, sans igname, pas d'argent, pas de nourriture pour les habitants et pas d'école pour les tout-petits. Alors, c'est là que Fatoumata intervint et dit ceci. Braves gens de Famienco, tout n'est pas perdu. Moi, votre fille, je vous aiderai à trouver une solution face à ce problème. Un grand point d'interrogation pouvait se lire sur le visage. Fatoumata, avec un sourire aux lèvres, leur dit « Oui, faites confiance à la science. Je vous aiderai à trouver des variétés avec de bons rendements, de bonne qualité pour la consommation sous toutes ses formes, mais aussi résistantes au phénomène de plants effeuillés connu sous le nom de l'anthracnose. Car l'anthracnose est l'une des maladies les plus dévastatrices de l'igname, pouvant causer des pertes jusqu'à 100%. Et son degré de sévérité est étroitement lié aux aléas climatiques. J'atteindrai cet objectif en évaluant et sélectionnant des plants à l'aide du multi-trait genotype, idiotype, distance index. Et j'irai plus loin en identifiant la position et les gènes responsables de ces caractères à l'aide du Genome-Wide Association Study. Tout heureux, les villageois acclamèrent pour Fatoumata et lui disent « Fatoumata, nous ne comprenons absolument rien à tout ce charabia que tu viens d'expliquer. Nous savons juste que tu nous aideras à trouver une solution. Alors, s'il te plaît, mets-toi en route pour cette étude. » C'est ainsi que Fatoumata se rendit au Nigeria, précisément à l'IITA à Ibadan, où elle fut capable de sélectionner 6 génotypes prometteurs dans un panel de 389. Alors, c'est chemin faisant pour le laboratoire pour le génotypage que moi, Fatoumata, posa mes valises à Howard pour conter cette histoire. Et il est maintenant grand temps pour moi de poursuivre mon chemin vers le laboratoire, car les habitants de Famille Creuse sont impatients. Mais avant cela, s'il vous plaît, dites-moi, est-il possible de parler de développement sans éducation? Je vous remercie.
En effet, est-il possible de parler de développement sans éducation? Merci Fatoumata. Before I introduce the next speaker, I just want to let you know that in order to listen to the English interpretation, you need to switch to channel 1 on your gadgets, please. Thank you. Notre deuxième conteur s'appelle Medar Kafuchoni. Il est chercheur au laboratoire écologie appliquée à l'université Abomey-Calavi au Bénin. Dans son histoire, il nous fait prendre conscience d'un problème dont on ne parle pas assez. Medar, welcome.
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. Derrière chaque réussite, il y a toujours une histoire personnelle. Mon histoire à moi commence en 1990 dans des conditions très difficiles. Je suis né et j'ai grandi au Bénin sans jamais avoir connu mon papa parce qu'il nous a quittés prématurément avant ma naissance. Mais il m'a légué un précieux héritage, une ambition, celle de viser l'excellence professionnelle et humaine. Mais nous sommes en Afrique et généralement de telles tragédies ont pour conséquence de ruiner totalement l'avenir des enfants. C'est pour vous dire que mon enfance a été vraiment difficile. Je me souviens encore de ces jours où le ventre vide, sans un sou en poche, je me rendais à l'école. Cette période de ma vie a été vraiment dure. Très dure. Au point où un jour, j'en avais assez. J'ai donc décidé de produire notre propre nourriture. J'ai commencé par cultiver des légumes, des tomates et des tubercules devant la maison. Et cela nous a permis, ma mère et moi, d'avoir assez à manger, mais également d'avoir des revenus additionnels. Quelques années plus tard, je suis rentré à l'université et naturellement, je voulais devenir agronome, puisque ma passion pour l'agronomie est née. Mais je ne pouvais pas. Les frais de formation étaient très chers et nous n'avons pas les moyens. J'ai donc dû travailler de façon acharnée pendant 3 ans, en combinant parfois jusqu'à 3 emplois simultanément pour arriver à réunir les fonds nécessaires pour mes études. J'y suis arrivé. Et c'était ma plus grande première victoire. Et après ça, oui, il y a eu une série de victoires qui se sont suivies. Et c'est ce qui m'a conduit aujourd'hui devant vous cet après-midi. Au cours des 8 dernières années, j'ai pu avoir un master, j'ai fait une thèse en génétique et amélioration des plantes, j'ai décroché plus d'une quinzaine de bourses et de subventions de recherche, des voyages par-ci et par-là, sans compter mes nombreuses publications. Je détenais donc désormais la clé. Et je sais qu'on peut donc relever n'importe quel défi si on a une bonne vie. Connaissances scientifiques qui nous permettent donc de démarrer un programme d'amélioration génétique de la lentille de terre. Donc, c'est un projet qui est toujours en cours. Je sais que ça prendra du temps, ça ne se fera pas du jour au lendemain. Mais je sais également que je vais réussir. Et j'espère vraiment que mon histoire pourra inspirer d'autres jeunes africains, en particulier ceux qui sont les plus défavorisés. Mon message pour eux, c'est de ne jamais abandonner son rêve. Rien n'est impossible quand on est assez déterminé, quand on a une volonté farouche, on peut réussir tout. Mais moi, malgré toutes ces réussites, je me demande aujourd'hui, et je me suis toujours posé la question, est-ce que ma vie aurait été différente si mon père était encore en vie? Et en fait, je n'ai jamais eu de réponse à cette question. Mais aujourd'hui, en me tenant devant vous ce soir, je suis sûr d'une chose. C'est que mon papa, où qu'il soit, il aurait été fier de moi. Merci. you.
Merci, mesdames. When I was young, there's a funny song my father used to sing. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. Anyone else know that song? Yes, people of the bucket, we are here. What's the value of a bucket? That is what our next storyteller is going to tell us. Anna Msigwa is a lecturer and researcher at the Nelson Mandela African Institute of Science and Technology in Arusha, Tanzania. Her passion is around agriculture and water management. Karibu, Anna.
Yes. Good afternoon. As a child growing up, I had a passion for water, serving water. It was my lifetime. I wanted to serve water. I recall in my family why the whole family will use the whole bucket of water. As a child, I was just satisfied with a half bucket of water. Of serving water was my life.
Do anything.
I started learning about water management early stage of my life. I involved myself during my secondary school in the water saving projects. I went to a Coca-Cola company in my hometown, Mbeya region, in southern part of Tanzania. And the visit in Coca-Cola company was a revelation to me. Do you know that just to make 1 liter of Coca-Cola, they use 3 liters of water? So as much as we consume Coca-Cola, a lot of water we are wasting. And we all agree with me that we are all, most of the time, not conscious of saving water. For example, today in the morning, when you want to brush your teeth, I'm sure you just open the tap, left it open. You brush your teeth, you let it flow, and then you close it after you finish brushing your teeth. Do you know how much water you in there? If you are not among this group, please clap for yourself. Okay, yes. As my journey of education continued, STEM students from University of Dar es Salaam came to visit our high school. As we have chapter leaders here, we go around schools to sensitize girls to study STEM subjects and their career development. Thanks to a persuasive telecommunication engineer, I was excited. I said, I want to start telecommunication engineering because it was exciting. I said, I want to work at airport, I want to work on planes. However, life had its own plan for me. When the results came out, oh my God, I failed. I failed to have that pass mark to study telecommunication engineering at the University of Dar es Salaam. This pulled me down. I was so discouraged. I remember locking myself in the room. An A student like me, I failed, I got D. It's not possible. I lost hope. But finally, got up and I went and pursued my studies in another field of engineering, and that is environmental engineering. This, to my surprise, this course, I loved it because it was all about water and environment, something I was so passionate about since the childhood. So it was voila for me. And I went further to study my master's in hydrology and water resource engineering. In this time, I started involving myself with the farmers. I worked closer with the farmers to discover how we can efficiently store rain harvested water. It came again, another project that I needed to go and map groundwater well in another community in Kilimanjaro, Tanzania. I went to this place. Something was revealed there. I met these farmers there, and they asked me, why are you doing this? To my surprise, I thought as scientists, the farmers should understand what we are doing is for their own good and all that. But this farmer said, why are you doing that? I said, we want to monitor the groundwater wells so that we can know the impact of usage. This farmer said, why? The water in the ground is like an ocean. It will never finish. That got a surprise to me that, wow, this farmer is not aware that this water from the ground is coming from the rain. And they have also, the rain is decreasing and is varying. So this misconception that they had, it makes them to use the water anyhow. So there's no management. And I found that this is not just a local issue in Tanzania. I found it also in Nigeria, where I'm married. So let me take you back. Who I am. I'm a half East African because I'm born in Tanzania, but I'm also a West African because I'm married to a Nigerian. So when I normally work with farmers also in Nigeria, I found that these farmers are not aware of their action today, that this action of mismanagement of water will define their future. So there's no escape for Africa. So whether you are in the southern part, e.g. Zambia, or you are in the northern part, Algeria, Morocco, this mismanagement of water is everywhere. So it came to my research as a PhD. So when this knowledge and these values that these farmers had to define my topic for PhD. So I studied my PhD and I was looking at the water availability at a basin level, but also I was looking at how efficiently we can use this water, but how to see the importance of managing. Currently now, what I do, I sensitize farmers. I bring awareness programs to them on climate change, but with the focus also of how these farmers' attitude can change towards water management. I and my research team, we've developed a warning system for drought detection, a system that farmers everywhere in Africa can use to plan their season, their cropping season, but also to use water, the little water they get, effectively. So now, this little child, that his passion, her passion, is to save water. Let me remind you, water scarcity is real, and it needs our action now. So what can we do? Start by being conscious of your usage of water. Why don't you that tap of water when you're brushing your teeth? You have the garden in your home. Why don't you change the attitude on how you irrigate those grasses by just pouring the water away? Let's change the attitude because every drop counts. As researchers, let's do our research that are responsive to our farmers' needs and beliefs so that they can marry these ideas that we have. And let us all work together for our sustainable future to secure our water, not only for yourself, but for our future generation. Thank you.
So Anna has answered the question, with what shall I fix it? Dear Liza, with what shall I fix it? With marrying research and action. I would like to invite Jax on the sax to give us a small musical interlude as we transition to our next set of storytellers. And as he comes up, maybe you can share with the person next to you. Have you enjoyed the stories? And what have you taken away? Including how you'll be brushing your teeth.
Have you ever lost anything? Something beautiful? Avez-vous déjà perdu quelque chose de très joli? Notre raconteuse qui suit s'appelle Emmeline Acédé. Elle est maître de conférence à l'Université de Parakou au Bénin. Elle est aussi chef adjointe de l'unité de recherche en biologie forestière et modélisation écologique à la même université, mais elle est aussi professeure extraordinaire à l'Université de Pretoria. Elle aussi a perdu quelque chose de très joli et elle va venir nous raconter l'histoire. Emmeline, bienvenue sur scène.
Il était une fois Plectrenmentus caudatus, une petite plante orchidée, très remarquable de par sa beauté resplendissante, qui vivait dans la galerie forestière de Kota, le poumon forestier de la ville de Natitengo, affectueusement nommée Dame Mentus dans mon histoire. Cette plante était particulière parce qu'elle ne pouvait vivre que sur le dos d'un arbre. Dame Mentus était orpheline de père et de mère, seule rescapée de la tragédie de la déforestation, du fait des activités des hommes, telles que l'agriculture incontrôlée. Au détour d'un de mes travaux d'inventaire des plantes en novembre 2011, j'étais tombée nez à nez sur cette plante-là, très belle, et probablement utilisée pour sauver et traiter nombre de maladies, comme bien d'autres plantes en Afrique. J'en suis tombée éperdument amoureuse. Le doux parfum de ces fleurs, blanches comme neige, m'enveloppa sur le champ, comme si c'était un jeu de séduction. Je regarda autour de moi, mais il n'y avait qu'un seul, je dis bien un seul individu de cette plante magnifique qui était perché très haut sur un arbre de Pinta d'Esma. Alors je me suis promis de revenir récolter les graines de cette plante-là pour démarrer pour la première fois la reproduction de cette orchidée-là au Bénin. À la fin d'un de mes cours en Master 2, option foresterie, où j'ai parlé de l'importance des forêts pour les populations locales, des plantes comme les orchidées, et même de Dame Mentus, Nasrine, une des étudiantes très brillantes de la promotion, se rapprocha de moi. Elle me dit, « Madame, j'ai été séduite par l'histoire des orchidées. Pour faire mon mémoire de fin de formation, je veux travailler sur la reproduction des orchidées. » J'ai dit, « Yes! Je suis tombée sur le bon élément pour travailler sur ce sujet-là. » Eh bien, on s'est donné rendez-vous pour aller sur le terrain, faire une étude exploratoire et profiter pour récolter les graines de Dame Mentus. Tellement enthousiasmée, déjà à 5 h du matin, Nasrine était sur mon portail. J'ai entendu Kingo. Ah, mais qui peut sonner à cette heure-là? J'ouvre le portail et c'était Nasrine. Je dis, mais ma fille, notre rendez-vous, c'est 8 h. En plus, elle baissa la tête avec un sourire au coin des lèvres. Très troublée, j'ai compris qu'en fait, elle avait hâte de rencontrer mon amie Dame Mentus. Eh bien, après 3 heures de route et 2 heures de marche, sous un soleil de plomb ce jour-là, on est arrivé dans un environnement complètement bouleversé. Et même inconnu de ma mémoire, je me suis arrêtée net. Le cœur troublé, le regard complètement bouleversé. Je regardais Nasrine, je tournais ma tête vers le paysage. J'étais en train de grelotter, je tremblais. Et là, je me suis agrippée au bras de Nasrine pour ne pas tomber. La pauvre, très inquiète, me demanda, mais madame, qu'est-ce qui ne va pas? Vous avez mal? Ah oui. Et de grosses gouttes de sueur dégringolaient mon visage. En effet, le paysage était à perte de vue couvert de champs de maïs. Je dis, mais Nasrine, où est la galerie forestière? Où est l'orchidée? Où se trouve Dame Mentus? Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? À quelques 500 mètres de là, je vis une ombre. C'était un petit vieux, le dos courbé, complètement meurtri par les rayons de soleil impitoyables. il semblait en train d'arracher quelque chose de la terre. Ça doit être probablement les mauvaises herbes qu'il enlevait de son champ. Alors je me rapprocha de lui, et puis il souleva son visage, desséché et couvert de rides, marqué par la dureté de la vie. Poliment, je lui dis « Bonsoir, papa ». Il me regarda avec une petite voix à peine audible et me dit « Bonsoir, ma fille. Mais que fais-tu dans cet environnement, sous ce chaud soleil ?» Je dis « Mais papa, il y a à peine quelques mois, j'étais ici exactement à cet endroit-là. C'était une forêt verdoyante avec beaucoup d'arbres. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Où sont passés les arbres? » Alors, il baissa la tête, le regard à la fois triste et coupable. Il me dit « Ma fille, on a dû couper les arbres pour installer les champs de culture que tu vois ici. Toi-même, tu sais, il n'y a plus de terre fertile quelque part, si ce n'est le long des cours d'eau, où le sol peut encore garder un peu d'eau. Tu sais que les pluies sont rares et irrégulières, et la sécheresse de plus en plus rude et longue. Alors que je dois manger, je dois nourrir mes 8 enfants et mes 3 frères alités à la maison, avec la dizaine de progénitures qui m'ont laissé sur les bras. C'est la même chose un peu partout. Même mon frère qui est au Burkina, la dernière fois on a échangé, il se plaignait de la même situation de sécheresse, d'irrégularité des pluies, de la rareté des pluies. On n'a pas le choix que de couper les arbres et d'installer les champs là où il y a encore des terres fertiles pour pouvoir nourrir nos enfants. On ne peut même pas se permettre d'acheter les engrais qui sont devenus très chers. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire, ma fille? Ce n'est pas notre faute. Alors, je regarda ce vieux-là, symbole du passé et d'un présent douloureux. Et je tourna ma tête vers Nasrine, qui représente l'avenir de l'Afrique. Et je me suis fait une promesse, comme dans une confession. Il faut faire quelque chose. Il faut sauver les forêts-galeries. Il faut améliorer la fertilité des sols. Il faut restaurer les sols. Ceci y va pour la conservation des ressources en Afrique et pour l'amélioration du bien-être de nos populations locales. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Emmeline. Notre prochain conteur s'est heurté contre un problème très particulier. Il va venir nous raconter cette histoire. Il s'appelle Damigou Bamité. Il est chercheur associé à l'Université de Lomé et à l'Institut togolais de recherche agricole. Damigou, venez nous raconter cette histoire.
L'histoire que je vais partager ce soir avec vous a commencé dans mon enfance et a atteint son apogée quand je suis arrivé en thèse de doctorat. J'ai remarqué une plante dans le jardin de case de mon père et j'ai constaté qu'il faisait tout pour maintenir cette plante-là. Il s'agit du taro. Une plante cultivée pour ses tubercules et pour ses feuilles. Et des recherches ont montré d'ailleurs que cette plante est une arme efficace pour lutter contre l'anémie, particulièrement chez les enfants. Cependant, au Togo, la production de cette plante rencontre des difficultés à cause de l'irrégularité des pluies et de la pauvreté des sols qui sont dus au changement climatique. Et donc, c'est une espèce qui, normalement, doit attirer l'attention de la communauté scientifique. Alors, quand je suis entré en thèse, j'ai eu la joie de travailler sur cette espèce-là. Avec ce sujet, j'ai réussi à décrocher un financement et tout content, je suis parti sur le terrain pour la collecte des données. Et de localité en localité, je bravais les barrières naturelles à la rencontre des producteurs qui jusque-là étaient collaboratifs. Malheureusement pour moi, la mauvaise surprise m'attendait justement dans une localité où je m'attendais le moins. Alors ce jour-là, tout comme les autres jours, je me suis réveillé pour aller prendre rendez-vous dans une petite localité pour 3 jours plus tard. Et le jour du rendez-vous, je me suis réveillé tout confiant parce que chaque jour qui passait, quand je remplissais mes fiches d'enquête, je me disais, tiens, je fais encore un pas pour ma thèse. Alors, je suis arrivé dans la localité et heureusement pour moi, les producteurs ont répondu à mon rendez-vous. Après l'introduction du représentant du chef, j'ai pris la parole, je me suis présenté et j'ai présenté le motif de ma visite. Ensuite, j'ai demandé si je peux continuer. Ils ont dit oui. De façon surprenante. Toutes mes questions suivantes ont buté sur un silence incompréhensible. Je me suis dit, mais ces gens ne comprennent pas ce que je dis, ou bien c'est moi qui deviens sourd. Et comme c'était dans un village, je me suis rendu compte que j'entendais quand même le chant des oiseaux. Alors, je ne devenais pas sourd. Et après 2 longues minutes de silence, l'un d'entre eux m'a fait signe de la main de m'approcher. Alors, rapidement, je suis arrivé chez lui et il me dit ceci. Nous savons ce pourquoi tu es là. Tu n'es pas le premier. Tu ne seras pas non plus le dernier à venir chez nous ici. Nous sommes également conscients que si tu quittes chez nous, on ne te verra plus jamais. Mais nous avons quelque chose que nous souhaitons que tu retiennes. C'est que nous sommes fatigués. Fatigués de toujours donner des informations et rien en retour. À l'entendre ainsi parler, j'étais triste, coupable et confus. Triste parce que tristement, c'était la triste réalité. Des chercheurs sont venus chez ces communautés. Ils ont pris des informations et ils se sont fait leur carrière. Ils sont devenus de grands professeurs, d'éminents chercheurs, de grands bureaucrates. Mais en retour, ils n'ont développé aucune technologie, aucune innovation qui pouvait permettre à ces communautés, ne serait-ce que soit peu, d'améliorer leurs conditions de vie. J'étais coupable parce que justement, c'est ce système-là qui m'a formé. J'étais le fruit de ce système-là. Et bien entendu, j'étais confus. Parce que là, se jouait justement l'avenir de ma thèse. Si je décidais d'abandonner en ce moment-là, rien ne me garantissait que je pouvais trouver une autre localité sans essuyer la même réaction. Et de plus, j'avais déjà perdu 2 jours pour continuer à chercher une autre localité. Alors, j'ai pris une bonne respiration. J'ai regardé autour d'eux. J'ai jeté un regard sur eux et j'ai pris la parole. J'ai dit, chers parents, vous avez parfaitement raison. Mais permettez-moi de vous expliquer ce pourquoi ceux qui viennent, qui partent, ne reviennent plus. Pour pouvoir arriver chez vous ici, j'ai dû me battre pour décrocher un financement à l'extérieur parce que justement, nos gouvernements financent très très peu la recherche. Alors, après ce travail, j'irai présenter mes résultats, je vais obtenir un diplôme, mais si je ne trouve pas un autre financement, je ne reviendrai plus. Et après avoir dit ça, ils se sont mis à discuter entre eux. Et après 2 bonnes minutes, le représentant du chef a repris la parole. Il a demandé du calme et les a exhortés à être au moins compréhensifs pour ce que je venais de dire. Alors ils se sont calmés, j'ai collecté tranquillement mes données et je suis parti. Mais cet incident a marqué mon esprit de sorte que non seulement je me suis engagé à écrire un projet postdoctoral, mais je l'ai concocté de sorte à associer les producteurs à sa réalisation. Et donc, à l'entame de ce nouveau projet, je suis reparti dans la localité pour leur présenter d'abord les résultats de mes travaux de thèse, mais aussi le nouveau projet que j'avais réécrit. Et quand j'ai fini la présentation, il y a un qui s'est approché et m'a dit, « Toi, tu t'es bien débrouillé. Mais si on n'avait pas réagi ainsi, tu ne serais jamais revenu. » Alors, je leur ai présenté mes résultats et le projet que j'ai réécrit consistait dans un premier temps à établir la collection nationale des différentes variétés de taro cultivées au Togo et ensuite permettre, pour lutter contre une maladie particulière du taro, puisque nos variétés locales sont sensibles à cette maladie, d'importer des variétés améliorées, non seulement pour améliorer les variétés locales, mais en plus pour diversifier l'espèce au niveau local. Et donc, le travail a été fait. Nous avons introduit les nouvelles variétés du Ghana et du Vanuatu et nous avons effectivement établi la collection de toutes les variétés locales. Et donc actuellement nous sommes sur le point, nous sommes à la recherche d'un autre financement pour pouvoir lancer l'évaluation de ces variétés que nous avons importées dans les conditions locales, toujours en association avec les producteurs. Et donc, à l'issue de la sélection, nous allons choisir les variétés élites que nous allons proposer pour adoption à ces producteurs. Eh bien, cette histoire, c'est pour vous dire, pour interpeller chacun de nous, l'équipe chercheur ou bien des dirigeants, pour que nous puissions à chaque fois associer la population locale à nos activités de recherche. Ainsi, à la fin, même si nous n'avons pas une solution toute faite pour eux, eh bien, leur participation leur aura permis, dans un premier temps, d'orienter notre recherche, mais dans un second temps, ils auront au moins acquis une petite leçon pour améliorer à leur tour leurs conditions de vie. Et c'est ainsi que nous pouvons petit à petit sortir l'Afrique de la précarité alimentaire. Je vous remercie.
Is it off? He's telling me, okay, I have found the right button. Thank you, Damigu, for reminding us about dignity from all the partners that we work with. We owe them dignity, and they have a lot to teach us. Our last storyteller this afternoon comes from the wonderful country of Nigeria. Yes. She's a lecturer at the University of Lagos, and while botany is her day job, I invite you to hear why that matters so much to her. Aramide Ibari, welcome.
I believe that all dreams come true when we have the courage to pursue them. Let me tell you why, but first I have to tell you the story of my mother. My mother started as a junior typist at the University of Lagos in 1976. And the first time my mother witnessed a convocation ceremony, she went from being surprised. She was like, what? What is happening here? Who are these people? She went from feeling surprised to feeling very impressed and amazed. In her words, she said the hairs on her body stood. And that made her to have the desire for her to pursue a university education. She tried, but unfortunately she could not succeed due to her reality. So my mother said, you know what, I can't have it. I passed that dream on to my children. So she decided that come what may, all of her children must have a university degree, no matter what it's going to take her. None of them should start their career from the junior level she started hers from. So I was born some years after, and I grew up in an area in Surulere, Lagos, Nigeria. And it broke my heart because we had a very trying time. It was really difficult for us then, and seeing how much my mother sacrificed for us really broke my heart. I saw how hard she worked. In fact, even some men in the environment, in our compound, they refer to her as a man in a woman's body, because my mom really worked hard. She was still a typist at the university. She still has a shop in front of the house where we sell foodstuff. And she still did every other job that comes at her just to make more money for the family. In fact, I and my sisters, we hawk bread on the street of Lagos just to bring in that extra money for the family. What mattered to my mother, what she wanted, was just for all of her children to have a university education. So I grew up with that mindset. Her words ring in my ears. She tells us every time, she says, Okelayewa isaletikun. That means that there are abundance of opportunities at the upper level. The lower level, it's filled to the brim. So she rings that into our ears every time to always aim for the top. And she said, you can't reach that top if you don't have education, if you don't have a university education. So I grew up to be studious, always reading, because I wanted to succeed. And I loved sciences. I was in the science class. I wanted to become a medical doctor, and I did so well. Surprisingly for me, after my secondary school, I discovered that the so-called bookworm could not even meet up with the cutoff mark to study a course, a choice of course at the university. I was like, what? How did that happen? And I was sad. I was broken at that time. I felt defeated. I doubted my capabilities. I also felt fear because I was afraid I was not going to be able to achieve my dreams. My mother encouraged me. She told me I could still make it. And she enrolled me in lessons. I was going for lessons. I stayed at home for 2 years before I gained admission into the university. And those 2 years, she was enrolling me in lessons. I failed the first year. I tried again the following year. I was studying. I was reading. I was also praying. If I tell you that I wrote a letter to God, I wrote a letter addressed to God, and I went to drop in the mailbox at the post office because I wanted just something to happen for me. Thankfully, my mom registered me for the foundation program at the University of Lagos, and I was advised that I should go for another biological science course. So I enrolled for microbiology, and I did the microbiology. I finished well, despite how hard, how difficult the course was for me. I made sure I graduated with a good class of degree. I later proceeded for my master's. I did master's in botany, and I was assigned my supervisor, Professor Oti Ogundipe, and I met this man. He is a visionary leader and a courageous one. He is an hard worker to the core. I used to think my mother was the most hardworking person on earth, not until I met this man. He was more hardworking, but in another form. Under his tutelage, I developed my science skills, how to write proposals, how to present your results in a scientific way to science people, audience, and non-science audience. And most importantly, how to develop research for impact. And I was inspired by this man, and I became emboldened that I think I want to pursue a career in the academics. And I went further to enroll for my PhD. And I was on the PhD program, and I saw that PhD is not a walk in the park at all. The first 2 years, I was just stagnant. I was at that point because I was applying for different grants, different calls, different fellowships, everything that comes out, I will apply. I tell you, 99% of the feedback came as, I regret to inform you, we are sorry you are not selected. Seeing my colleagues make progress with their PhD, some had won grants, others were even in the lab. I was like, am I sure I'm in the right career? Am I sure I can do this? But with the encouragement of my mentor and my mother's encouragement, I told myself, I've come this far. I can't give up at this stage, no. And God has brought me this far, won't even leave me here. So I kept on pushing, I refined my proposals, and lo and behold, in 2013, I received that congratulatory email from the UNESCO Laurel for Women in Science Award, and I was informed I have been awarded, I am one of the fellows for the International as in Rising Talents, and that was the turning point for my life. That was the breakthrough for me. I was able to do my research work with the funding at the University of Reading in the UK, and I completed my PhD in 2017. I convocated in 2018, and come and see my mother. She was the happiest person. She was happier than I was. And she said, all she just wanted was just for her children to have a university degree. She never believed, she never expected that she could have one who became a doctor. And the good news is that my mother achieved her dream. All her 4 children, they all have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. And I achieved my dream. That letter I wrote to God, I achieved my dream. Yes, because I was employed in that same University of Lagos in 2017 to lecture. And I did not start my career at the junior cadre, where my mother started from. Because of my experiences, I course advise students. Aside from teaching them the science, I'm also passionate about mentoring and encouraging them. Most importantly, people with underprivileged background, to tell them that your dreams are valid. Our background is not meant to put our back to the ground. Not at all. We need to keep on dreaming. We do not need to give up. The world needs more dream, because with hard work, with dedication, with resilience, our dreams can come true. And that's why I said, all dreams will always come true, only when we have the courage to pursue them. Distinguished people seated here today, my question to us is, how are you going about achieving your dreams? How are you making more dreams valid? Will you be the answer to somebody else's dream? I believe that all of us here, we have a sort of master key in our hands. Will you open the door for others to be able to make their mark in life, either as a student, as a researcher, as a scientist, or as a change agent in the world. Thank you.
Could you kindly join me in appreciating our storytellers again? Thank you so much for allowing us into your lives, for sharing with us your stories, for taking us across the continent, all the way to Nigeria and back to Tanzania, and reminding us about why we should have the courage to pursue our dreams. And I'm proud to say that at Award we are very courageous. We have the courage to pursue our dreams. We are delighted to get to this point where we actually want to share with you why we want to continue working with people who are working on deforestation, people who want to address the issues of water management, people who are addressing the issues of some of the neglected crops like legumes. You've heard about people who are also paying attention to how they're conducting their research and being intentional in paying more attention to more meaningful engagement with the communities that they work with the farming communities, and valuing their input. And so, like you heard at the beginning, our work is not yet done. We are daring to dream. We continue to be bold. And so it gives me immense pleasure to now welcome Dr. Susan Karia. Dr. Susan Karia is the Director of Award. And Susan will present to us our vision for the next many years, and our mission for the next 5 years, and how we are doing it. So if we can cue Susan's presentation, please. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. And good morning, good afternoon to all the people who are watching us online. First of all, let me just thank you all so much for honoring our invitation and for coming to join us to hear our new strategy, and just listening to those stories, those powerful stories. It just puts more meaning in the work that we continue to do at Award. So what I'm going to share with you today here is our new strategy, and the process we've gone through to develop it, and I'll also share some of the commitments that we continue to have as Award. So it is the strategy for 2023 to 2027. Hope that, as always, it's okay. I think you have to help me move. Do not worry, it will work. We've been practicing endlessly. It cannot fail us at this moment. So, Badia. So what I'll tell you about today is several things. I'll talk about the process that we went through in order to do our strategy. I'll talk a little bit about some of the lessons that we learned because we did an external evaluation. And then I'll talk to you about we also talked to many of you, our key stakeholders. We talked to our alumni, and what were some of the lessons that we learned from that, and how we used all that to shape where we are going in the future. Okay, there it is. So that's how our strategy looks at the moment. We'll be sharing it. I think Doreen has some ambitious way of launching it, so we all wait to be surprised by Doreen. And the tagline for our strategy is gender-responsive solutions driving equitable agri-food systems. Okay. So, as I've already told you, so I'll talk about the strategy development process, what we learned, how the strategy looks like, what are some of our key outcomes, what are the pillars underpinning our work, and also what do we need to have in place in order to deliver on the strategy. So, now it's become too sensitive. Well, first of all, I think our first speaker, Dr. Eliane, mentioned that we've been in existence for 15 years. So 2023 is literally 15 years since our founding, and we were founded in 2008. And we began as a career development fellowship program that really wanted to nurture women so that they can take up positions in leadership in the African agriculture research and development sector. And we also, at a certain point, we realized that only working on them without their institutions was not making sense. So we started to work beyond the individual, and in 2017 we launched a strategy that included working at the individual, working with the institutions where our alumni came from, and then working more broadly on influencing the enabling environment. So we now have about a decade and a half of, as we've said, strengthening the capacity of African women scientists for effective research and leadership. We've really seen that our fellowships have contributed to building and sustaining a really strong talent that is everywhere in Africa you go, you will see our alumni, and they're playing important roles. And actually today, after my presentation, you'll hear from some of them. To date, these numbers now are not so accurate, but we've reached about 800 fellows. So you had about 5 of them today. Imagine 800 like those all over. And then, as you heard from the stories of our fellows, they also work with a mentor who really guides them and helps them think about their career goals. And they also work with a mentee, who is somebody who the fellow is able to mentor. So in total, we've reached about 1,700. And they're in about 260 institutions in 26 countries in Africa. And this has been possible because we developed what we call a training hub, where we have a pool of African professionals who are subject matter specialists, process facilitators with international experience across Africa, both Anglophone and Francophone, who are really developing these customized learning experiences. And some of them, as we have our cocktail, you will meet some of them because they are with us here today as well. So we did an evaluation, and we learned quite a lot. And I think for me, what was really important that came out is that we were really contributing to the growth and leadership capacity amongst the African women researchers. And 95% of those who were interviewed said that their training and the interventions that award had for them were really meeting their needs in terms of career progression. 70% of them said that their interventions through award had really strengthened their leadership skills, and 57% of them said they had actually gotten better positions. They had gotten leadership positions, some within their institutions, others in their units, but 57% of them had actually grown in leadership. And then 32% of them said just being involved in award meant that they started to have an interest in pursuing further studies. I love this. Okay. So this is a process that we went through as I mentioned it before. We did an independent evaluation and many of our friends also participated in that, and our key stakeholders. And the evaluation was really important because they said there are places where you're not doing so well. Here are some recommendations. And there are places you're doing really well. Here are some recommendations for going forward. But we also, as I said, talked to all in turn. We talked ourselves because, many people at award have been doing this for a long time. And also we had external consultations, and then we hired a team of consultants, and they are represented in the audience. And one of the other things that they did was a review of the trends in the AR4D sector that we also needed to align with. So what did the evaluation tell us, and what did the consultations tell us? The first and most important thing is that they confirmed the relevance and vital role that award still has, and that there was a strong demand for our capacity development model. The second thing is that they found out that the quality of our fellowships, our alumni, our institutional relationships were extremely important in our credibility and in our reputation. And where you would go if you meet an award alumni, they will tell you, yes, I was an award alumni, and they'll tell you all the things that they were benefiting, and also the institutions as well. One of the things that came out very clearly, as I've said, we have about 1,800 alumni out there. What came out at the evaluation is we were not leveraging on that pool of expertise enough, and that we really needed to think how we can engage with our alumni and our country chapter much more intentionally. The other aspect is that one of the things that came out is we've done really well at doing, but we are not generating enough evidence. We don't have the tools, the methods, and we really needed to start generating more evidence. We had had a pilot where we worked with institutions very intentionally. We worked with 8 institutions in 6 countries, but we had not systematically documented those lessons, and also thinking, how do we scale out to the institutions, other institutions in Africa? And finally, if we wanted to go where we are going, expand the scale of our impact and influence, we really needed to think about strategic partnerships. The other point was what other trends were out there that were influencing, that should influence our new strategy. And the first and most important one was the narrative around agri-food systems. And looking at this new evidence that's showing the important role that women across the important role that African women play in the agri-food systems. However, the systems are really stacked against them, and there are huge gender inequalities. This was something that was really important. The second, for us, which was really important, the evidence shows that there continues to be underrepresentation of women in the AR4D leadership sector, i.e. our job that we started with is not yet done. The third one was that the institutions where they are, and AR4D institutions in general, there's really a lack of gender responsiveness in their policies, in their practices, in their recruitment, their promotion, the types of research they're doing, and this is an area that we need to work on. And finally, just looking at how policies are not paying attention to gender issues within the policy. So our strategy going forward, the 2023-2027 strategy, underscores our continued commitment to the realization of gender responsiveness in agri-food systems. We are renewing our commitment, as I said, to widening the pipeline of capable, confident, and influential women in leadership in the AR4D sector. And we are now, from what the feedback we are receiving, it's going to be really important that we also intentionally target younger women so that we can have a continuous, steady pipeline. We are going to continue to work with institutions so that we can ensure that they are integrating gender responsiveness in their organizational structures, in their practices, in their policies. And we see our work, of course, partnerships are important, and we see our work contributing to SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 5 on gender equality, and SDG 13 on climate action. Of course, we'll contribute to others, but these are the ones we felt we really should highlight. So what does our new theory of change look like? So this is our new theory of change. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem so clear there. Nonetheless, the orange color below talks about how we are going to continue to work by investing in individuals. The green color talks about our investments on strengthening institutions, and the yellow talks about our work with influencing the enabling environment. I think as you entered, you saw the big billboard. So hopefully you didn't only take pictures, you also read it. No worries. When you go out, there will be a moment. So let me go through each of these areas. So as I said, investing in individuals is going to continue to be really important to us. So we'll continue to build a pool of capable, influential women in leadership. And you've seen the young women speaking there today. These are the kinds of women we want out there, and men. I'll tell you what we said about the men. Anyway, we will also expand our targeting to work with early career young women and men. Young women, we'll work with emerging leaders for sustainable strong pipeline. One of the things that came out very clearly is they said, what about men? And we debated in award. This was the hottest debate throughout the strategy development process. And what we finally decided is, yes, of course, gender equality is not only working with women. If we want to really address gender equality, we need to also work with men. However, if you're a man and you get a fellowship from a ward, it is because you're committed to work on gender issues in your research work. So this is where we reached. So the outcome is more women access leadership positions, and AR4D professionals influence gender responsiveness of both men and women. And I've said the first intermediate outcome is this pipeline of capable, confident, and influential women in leadership positions. And the second one is a pool of AR4D professionals, both men and women, but working on integrating gender in their practice and their technical work. Our second pillar, which is the one on investing on strengthening institutions, we have several things that we think are really important. The first one is we will continue to partner with institutions that have demonstrated commitment to gender equality, to influence, and we work with them to influence their policies and their practices, and really strengthening their capacities. We are going to very systematically work with our alumni wherever they are, and we are going to engage them, support them to organize so that they can play their role, either within their institutions, within the policy environment where they are, because these are highly trained professional men and women who have capability to influence the environment. And then finally, recognizing that we do need to continue to do our training, we're going to really focus on establishing a self-sustaining capacity development hub for our leadership work, for mentoring, for science skills. What we're concerned here is to make sure that we are able it's able to run itself, like it's self-sustaining. So the outcome that comes there is improved gender responsiveness in African AR4D institutions and their partner institutions. The three intermediate outcomes relate very much to what I've said. So AR4D institutions are embracing gender responsiveness in their policies and in their practice. The second one is that our award alumni, this includes alumni, country chapters, really are influencing gender responsiveness in their institutions, policies and practices, and finally the self-sustaining capacity development hub is standing, and it's self-sustaining, it's funding, and really running independently. Our third pillar is influencing the enabling environment. And here we're going to really revamp our approach to engage with the AR4D policy practitioners, either at country level, at regions, at global level, really to create an awareness on why it's important to design and implement gender responsive policies. And we're going to intensify the production of compelling evidence that can really push the agenda forward. We have the outcome here is improved gender responsiveness in the African AR4D ecosystem, and we have two intermediate outcomes. The first one is, as I mentioned, is really generating that compelling evidence and making sure it's available and it can actually inform policies, practices, budgets, etc. And the second one is we're going to play a role where we're using this evidence to influence the policy agenda, the enabling environment policy agenda. I can see that they're passing around the theory of change. So one of the things that came out from our evaluation is, yes, and from our strategy conversations, so you'll get a beautiful strategy, theory of change, but there are certain things that need to be in place to make sure we can actually deliver on our promise. The first one is the competency. We at Award really need to identify and strengthen the key skills and capacities that we will need, both at the leadership, but also at staff level, if we are going to deliver on our strategy. The second is how do we use the evidence to influence the enabling environment, and even our communications and our management information systems. How do we use that to influence the enabling environment? The third one was around partnerships. I think we've talked about this. We're going to be developing a partnership strategy which has guidelines on how to engage with partners, how to identify strategic partners, and really create partnerships with them. And then the second one is resourcing our work. We have traditionally had some excellent donors that have stayed with us from our beginning. What we were told by the evaluation is we do need to think about diversifying our pool of donors, and we will continue to look for to do resource mobilization to diversify our resource mobilization. Looking at donor funding, but we also need to be a bit more creative. So the idea of the self-sustaining hub and being able to generate income through, courses that people pay for will be important, and then thinking about more innovative partnership models that can also help us to fundraise is going to be an important aspect. And finally, that we have to have a very strong monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And so we've developed a strategy in response that is really going to help us to see how we track whether we are making progress. We want to make sure we are learning, so we are learning organization, and really thinking about how do we make sure that we are being accountable to our stakeholders. Thank you very much. That is our award strategy.
I think Susan deserves a standing ovation. The way she has unpacked our vision, our mission. Thank you, Susan. Are you not excited to see where we are going? We're going far, right? And we are very, very confident that we will get there because you're with us. You may have your seats. Thank you. So thank you so much, Susan, and for that overview. I think everybody has received a wheel. This strategy wheel at the back, there's a QR code. We'll give you some time to scan it and get to interact with the strategy in more detail. But we also have copies that we'll give people who want. But at this point, I would like to invite some of our partners, some of the friends of Award. I know that all of us are friends of Award, and so we picked some of your representatives to come and talk to us about what this means going forward. Some of them have been with the award since inception. As you heard, it's 15 years since our founding. So some of them have worked with us this journey for 15 years. And we'd like to hear from some of them. So at this point, I would like to invite Dr. Jemima Njuki, who is joining us online. I don't know if you can hear, you can hear me, Jemima? She can hear us, but we can't hear her very clearly. I think the technical team at the back is working on the sound. Okay, I think, can you just try that again, Jemima? Okay, we can't hear Jemima very clearly. They are fixing the sound at the back. Let's just give her let's give them a few seconds. After we hear from Jemima, we have had the honor of enjoying such splendid partnerships with multiple partners from across Africa. We have worked with universities, different national research institutions, and after Jemima, we'll get to hear from Dr. Lusike Wasilwa, the Director Cross Systems for Africa, for CALRO, Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization. And then some of you may be aware that one of the things that we have been very intentional in doing is, and you heard Susan say that we will pay particular attention to our alumni, is we started coalescing our alumni into country chapters. And to date we have 11 country chapters from across Africa. And we'll get to hear from one of the country chapters in Kenya, right? And then, let me be sure that I'm saying the correct thing according to my program. Once we hear from the country chapters, we'll get to hear from one of our funding partners, representative from our funding partners who has walked this journey with award. And then after that, we'll have a short interlude before going into the next set of 3 speakers and finalizing the official launch of the strategy. So bear with us, stay with us, we're still here. Still having exciting things for you and very exciting people to hear from. I think if Jemima, if they're still fixing the sound, maybe we could go to the next speaker. Oh, shh. Okay, they're telling me that you should try, Jemima.
Hello, good afternoon, Doreen.
Good afternoon, Jemima. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We can see you. And yes, take it away, Jemima.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I've actually been online the last 2 hours listening to you, and I'm so glad I actually joined because those stories were simply amazing. And agricultural science has never sounded so exciting, and I do hope that you can have more girls especially listen to those stories. Thank you so much for inviting me to provide some reflections on the strategy. I have been engaged with the award for a long time, since its beginning. I have been a friend of the award. I was actually reflecting yesterday at the steering committee that I was actually at the meeting when the award was formed, and have played different roles with the award since then, as a mentor, as a host of fellows, as a chair of the steering committee, as the vice chair of the steering committee, and as of yesterday, stepped down from the steering committee and will remain a friend of the award. I also saw the cameras as they were zooming across the room, and it's really great to see all of you, some of you that I have worked very closely with before and that are committed both to supporting women in science and in agricultural sciences and gender equality in food systems as well. And I think for a lot of us, we know why this is so important. It's obvious that research has to serve women, that research needs women, and that those two that we know food production has a female face. We have seen that in Africa, we see that in other regions as well, including Southeast Asia. But we also know that the research and the food systems governance systems right now actually have a male face. And so there is a power redistribution that needs to happen. The last status of women in agri-food systems report showed 66% of women in sub-Saharan Africa are working in food systems. Our analysis of food systems organizations, however, shows only 2% of board seats in agri-food systems organizations are held by women from low and middle income countries. And my call is that if we really believe that women are good enough to be producing the food we eat, we also must believe that they're good enough to lead the science and to govern the organizations and to lead those organizations that are governing food systems. And I think today's stories are a really powerful statement of what women are bringing to the table in terms of research. The second dichotomy I want to address is the food system itself, and including the research system. That there are a lot of structural inequalities that are inherent in these systems and organizations, and it is not enough for us to just support women to be in these systems, but we must also support them to remain in those systems, to remain in leadership. And therefore, it is up to us to fix these systems. And so it's very gratifying to see that the award strategy also retains the institutional aspect that has been a cornerstone of award for many years. I'll just mention a couple of these inequalities. One from the status of women in agri-food systems, again, that women are earning only 82 cents to every dollar that the men earn in food systems. Our Eastern and Southern Africa Regional Office has just completed a gender pay gap assessment of 10 countries in the region, finding the same patterns. And this is the first ever report on gender pay gap that has been done for the Africa region. And so there are policies that need to be fixed within these organizations to actually enable women to thrive in these systems. And it's not just pay gap policies, it's care policies. It is policies on leave. We have been working with the Global Health 50/50, and we have an analysis of 200 organizations. And out of those 200 organizations, only one organization has a menstrual and menopause leave policy. So we are not even enabling women to come in their full selves to the workplace because the policies that are in these workplaces are not actually serving women. And so part of our work with governments, we've just worked to push a solution in the General Assembly and in the Human Rights Council to actually recognize care as a public good, putting the mandate on governments to actually provide care and to lead the way so that organizations then have policy guidelines on what to do about care. And we are extremely proud of countries like Kenya that's developing its first ever national policy on care. Now, the third issue and the third dichotomy is what the research systems, what gender research needs to happen, because research has to serve humanity, and it cannot serve humanity if it is not recognizing the needs and priorities of half of that humanity. Again, from our report on global Food 50/50, we are seeing 35% of organizations that do not even have a definition of gender, that do not recognize gender as a factor in research. And we know that there is no research that is gender neutral. There is no development that is gender neutral. So we need to deal with these three dichotomies. So again, we need to redistribute power in food systems, and the award strategy and the work of award has been critical in the region in terms of doing that. Second, we need to recognize that this is not enough. We need the policies that then support women, policies on equal pay, on care, on inclusion, on sexual harassment, and other policies as well that support women in the workplace. And finally, recognizing that research is not gender neutral. It doesn't matter what kind of research it is, whether it's vaccines for livestock are owned by people. And the power dynamics, the structural inequalities, either the discrimination that affects those people affect whether they will have access or whether those vaccines will serve them or not. So really keeping in mind that there is no research that's gender neutral, there is no development that's gender neutral. I'm gonna stop there and really offer my congratulations to the award team for this strategy. Offer my congratulations to Dr. Susan Carrier for really continuing the foundation that has been built over time in award from its first director, Vicky Wild, its second director, Dr. Wanjiru Kamal Rutenberg. Thank you so much for really advancing this work and coming up with such a transformative strategy to guide the work of award in the future. I thank you, and back to you, Dolly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jemima Njuki. Dr. Jemima Njuki is the Chief Economic Empowerment at the UN Women. And thank you so much, Jemima, for emphasizing why really we need to continue doing what we have said we will do. At this point, I'd like to invite Dr. Lusike Wasilwa, Director, Crop Systems at KALRO, Kenya Agrifood.
I hope I don't encounter
Continue. These are all awards. Now this is showing off. I wanted to show you even Myanmar people. I have greeted Hillary Clinton, Mulembe Lundi. Eh? Eh? Professor Wangari Maathai. You can see the two people there. Miriam Motipa, are you here? I don't know, she's not here. I'm telling Maria Bukutsa, where are these people? They decided not to come to this, so sad. And you can see me there when I was talking to Hillary. She says, Obama will like you. Yeah. I said, of course, why not? She gave me 2 thumbs up. I said, keep them up there. And while she was saying that, who are we with? None other than President Ruto. He's right there, smiling, those teeth in the first one. So I've met the only president I've ever met in Kenya. But we keep on moving, and you see all these awards. Miriam is talking, Professor Wangari Maathai. Oh, I was so happy. Jill Biden, the current president of the United States, met her, greeted her, seen her, what the hell. Then it was Bill Gates the other day. I said, hallelujah award. And by the way, you don't just get to these places. They hear you, you know that pitch, that 3-minute pitch, you go wah, 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 and you're talking in an American accent so that they can be able to understand you. Boop, then they choose you. Award gave us all these skills. Eh? That time, inside you, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. But you're pumping. And then last week, guess who? If you stretch that picture, I put my hand around President Goodluck Jonathan. Now I've caught a president, not only me. We were marching in the clothes we were wearing. Award. Many of you have met these people. But at times you're too shy, you can't take a picture. Oh, me, hell no. I'm like, take the phone, take a photograph. People must see. She's now telling me 1 minute, continue. I have to show off a bit. Okay, then when you look at visibility, where are we, our positions? Now, I told you, Jane Ambuko, where are you? I know you're somewhere. They are there. I can see you. Stand up, let them see you. At least you are here. I know you are here. This Jane, Professor Jane Ambuko, she has so many titles. But I'm telling you, she serves on a high panel of experts representing Africa. Of only 5 people in the world, only 5. Jane Ambuko is there representing Africa. Can you imagine? The board member staff have already talked about it, about myself. I don't have to hit you with it again. But there are positions that award fellows, Susan, that we've had. Have something where we show you what we've done, where we've reached. Me, I gave a keynote paper the other day in the University of Nairobi. Lusike Wasilwa, Toto wa Damaris and Festus. University of Nairobi. Me, I went to Baraton University. I didn't make it to University of Nairobi. Okay, continue, I'm finishing. So when you look at us, how we increase our visibility, it's all about partnerships. We've had a lot about that. Who are we working with? All the different NAS, the private sectors, the farmers. We're also working with all these international agriculture centers, the CIMITs, ILRIs, and the rest. And then even those partners that fund us in Genta, USA. These are just some, many. If you don't work, if I didn't put your university, I don't think I hate you. I love you the most. It's there somewhere. And if you look properly, you'll see it. But it's those partnerships, how we're working together to now collectively develop these technologies that have a positive impact on our agri-food systems. Continue. I'm now finishing. So to do this, we need money. Even Susan has said, change your ways of getting money. We are getting money from many. These are all award people. This is not a thing from Calro. Some of where we're getting our funding, whether they're from the donors, the international culture centers, development partners from different programs or national in Kenya, you find award fellows getting this funding. And because of that funding, through award and what she trained us, we're able to develop technologies. Those stories, the story of the orchid that got lost, oh, that was so sad. And like her, who said I'll come back, me when I see, I tell you, you're in a car and you're telling me to rush. You know, I take photographs. I tell you, go. Me, I'm taking my picture. These opportunities only happen once. You should never have left the orchid. That really annoyed me. Continue. So when we're able to build our visibility, building the networks, we're looking at the farmers. We have different tools, different channels of how we reach out to them. We present what we've done in conferences, otherwise nobody will know. We have to handle and take care of post-harvest losses, otherwise you're losing 25 to 90% of what you're growing. And then the issues of food security, food and nutrition security. What exactly are we growing? When you go to the shops and you find gooseberry, nadi, chimbunwe, nyatongolo, chinsobo, sobo, surubali, ngava, that is Lusike Wasilwa. People thought I was crazy. Now you're eating them. You have a dream and you go and get it without any funding. And then the meetings, that's what we do in increasing our visibility through the local and regional and global. We're everywhere. And we've been given the tools by award. Continue. However, and then also where have we gone? Okay, this is me. This is where I've gone, and I hope Timin and Josie are seeing. I want you to beat me in the number of countries I've gone to. Because of a tool, a photography, giving powerful PowerPoints. My position, where I've risen from a program officer all the way to a director, now I'm going for the Director General. I wanted to be the UN Secretary General, but let me just go for Director General. Then I'll go to more of these countries. That's the one I'm looking for. Continue. Continue. Now, I promise you this is the last one. Hey. So, what are people saying about NAS researchers? What are they saying? You've had your nurturing, you're confident, stand out, powerful, strong-willed, caring. This one I'm reading everything. Achievers, dependable, humane, good negotiators, good leaders, think out of the box, good rapport, award recipients are using all these tools to develop the countries in which they come from. Continue. The NAS. So, we're now asking Susan, you have given us your strategy, that two things are all there on this thing. But now, to break it down, you actually talked about youth. That one we'll remove now from there. You talked so much about gender. We're leaving. Negotiation, it didn't come out too strong. We need more negotiation because that's what it does. Your storytellers talked about artificial intelligence. We strike that out. Climate smartness, that was presented. Are you seeing? We were not together with Susan, but this was to beg her. If she then say that, now she has to do it. And then how do we increase our visibility in science, whether it's local, national, or international spaces? She spoke about that. We removed that one. And then the issue of focus on food and culture systems, she talked about that so much. Climate change, agroecology, artificial intelligence, that one is removed. And then the exchange visits, I didn't hear too much of that one. I want to go to South America to see Machu Picchu. That will be one of my things in, those to list you right before you die. Susan, I want to go to South America. Peru. Okay, continue. I'm now hinting. So, now I'm done. It was short, but I was just trying to show you what award has done and how it has changed us, how it has made us hot, sexy, and intelligent.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wasilwa. We have young women pursuing careers in agriculture here. We have undergraduate students from the University of, from Kenyatta University and from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I hope you are listening. She said, don't be shy. Take out the photo, take the photos, ask for what you want. So thank you so much for sharing with us so authentically and for really telling us how great and rewarding and awarding award is. So now you've heard Dr. Wasilwa talk about country chapters. And so my next speaker is representing the Kenya country chapter. We have 11 country chapters. Ms. Nora Ndege is a research associate at the research fellow at the African Center for Technology Studies and is the chair of the Kenya country chapter of award. Welcome, Nora.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome and the invitation to speak. So before I speak, I'd just like all the the members of the Kenyan chapter of African Women in Agriculture Research and Development to stand, including, I know Dr. Lusike will stand. Thank you very much. So it will be very hard to speak after Dr. Lusike, but I hope I'll just do justice. So the award steering committee, award trainers, distinguished guests, country chapter leaders who are present here, award staff, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pleasure and honor as a hosting country chapter, K Award, that I welcome all of you to the launch of Award's five-year strategic plan. As the chairperson of the country chapter, I stand here today with a profound sense of pride, knowing that this moment marks a very significant milestone, not only for Award, but also for our collective journey as country chapters who have rallied behind Award's next five-year strategic focus around delivering greater gender equality in agricultural research to make African food systems more equitable. As you can see me, I also just started like every one of you here. I joined Award when I just had my bachelor's degree. That was in 2015. And that time, I was employed at the World Agroforestry Center, ICRAF. And I was used to support farmers with training. And after that, of course, I also had a vision. After that, that is when the country chapter K-Word was formed. And because of the leadership skills, I volunteered to head the chapter. And members usually joke and say that they had to send me to do a PhD because I couldn't lead them without a PhD. As we speak now, I'm finalizing my PhD at the University of Sussex in the UK. And I'm looking at inclusive use of digital technologies because we are in the era of technology, but we still want to carry everybody. And we want to carry farmers. And I know one of my case studies is actually on Calro. Calro has developed over 56 mobile applications, actually reaching out to farmers. And I had a pleasure of conducting my case study. So I used the network. That is the network that we have from Award. And so for me, my PhD has really been not really easy, but the fact that I've been part of this fellowship, it has made the entire process very easy. So as I stand here today as the chairperson of the country chapter, I really want to congratulate Award and emphasize our commitment as a chapter, because as K Award, we have developed a multi-pronged approach to address a number of issues in Kenya. And our motto is empowering agricultural communities. So we are the people at the grassroots level. And with a membership of about 200 female agricultural scientists drawn from National Research Institute, for example, Dr. Lusike Wasilwa University, we have our member represented here, Dr. Jane Mbuko, Dr. Esther Kanduma, government agencies, we have Beatrice here, non-governmental organization, and also agripreneurs in Kenya. So we want to express our commitment as a chapter to support K-Award in the implementation of gender-responsive, demand-driven priority agriculture through our capacity-building activities that enhance the knowledge, skills, and capacity of extension workers. We work with farmers, we work with women, we work with the youth, we work with school learners to meet food and nutrition security. And in the recent past, we have engaged in a number of capacity building initiatives that include training, empowering the school learners. For example, we have one of our flagship projects, actually courtesy of Award, that is reaching out not just in Kenya. We have reached out over 400 learners, girls, and the project is the African Schools Outreach Program that actually mentors high school empowering them in biology and analytical skills. We promote science courses, as well as influence and change their attitudes towards science courses with the goal of creating the future generation of women scientists in Kenya. Dr. Esther Kanduma here has been leading this effort. And just to mention that this has scaled beyond Kenya, and Esther is now a trainer of trainers supporting girls in other continents. Can they stand? Because I see them with their attire. I know you are not prepared for this, but please stand up. Susan and the other girls. Let's clap for them. Yeah, so we have the Love in a Suitcase program, and I know this morning they're just from shooting a video to exhibit at the Kenya Innovation Week 2023. So in the spirit of this unity, as the K-word and other chapters, we want to pledge our full support the execution of Award's 5-year strategy, having actively participated in its formation. Really from the outset, we were consulted, both in person and virtual consultations, as well as the co-designing workshops. And we believe that as part of the team members, we serve really as a bedrock as well for cultivating agricultural research ecosystem attuned to the specific challenges faced by African women in the agricultural sector. So in closing, I want to call upon all members here to really provide their commitment as well to catalyzing positive change, nurture innovation, and build a future where each and every African woman in agricultural research and development has the opportunity to thrive and excel. So as I conclude, all of us are raising funds and we are raising money. As a Kenyan chapter, we can't do this without funds. Going to high school, sometimes we volunteer, we contribute, but today we have a diary, a 2024 diary already. It's outside there. We are only selling it at $10. It's branded KE Award, and you can personalize it for you. So after this, please grab a copy of that diary in efforts for you to support us, for us to reach more women. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nora. You know, when you join Award, everybody who joins Award, the Award Fellowship, or goes through our training, our mentoring programs, there's something they always have to produce. What is that? A purpose roadmap. Thank you very much. So Nora, thank you so much for leaving your purpose roadmap. I'm sure it's time. Congratulations. It's time to draw up a new one. So if you do not have a purpose roadmap, get the notebook so that you can draw yours in there and go through it, all right? Purpose roadmaps. So I would like to call our next speaker before we have an interlude, Dr. Edida Ampire. Dr. Edida Ampire is a senior program specialist from the Canadian International Development Research Center. And I do not want to preempt what Edida will say. Not that I know what she will say, but I know what she might say. Come, welcome.
Hi, greetings. I don't know whether it's afternoon or evening, so greetings. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here, and greetings to those that are also watching us and listening in on the online platforms. I'm happy to be here. As Doreen said, my name is Edida Ampire. I work for Canada's International Development Research Center, the organization that many of you know as IDRC. IDRC funds research in the Global South. I'll be quick on that, and probably many of us know, but we are keen when it comes to gender equality. I want to mention that. We are in the spaces, we are in climate resilient food systems, we are in education and science, we are in global health, we are in sustainable inclusive economies, we are in democratic inclusive governance. Wherever you will find us and you want a grant to do research, because we fund research, not development, research for development, we are keen to really want to, that you are effectively integrating gender equality and inclusion. And I'm happy to mention that it's a joy really to be here. Congratulations to Award and to all the hard work, because we are also part of the funding for the One Planet Fellowship that was co-funded by many. We consider ourselves a partner of choice, so I mentioned some of the donors that we worked with, BMGF, the NBP Paribas Foundation, and the European Union, so we are happy to have been part of that. And how I love the new strategy. The new strategy is really very important. I want to add on to what has already been said. Award's work is not yet done. We need it, and we are going to need it even in the next decades. And so the new strategy really spells out where I love it, because it's, looking at it, if all go as planned, if we are able to work on that strategy, I think we will close the bigger part of the gender gap. We will be able to address inequalities. If we can deal with the individuals, deal with the institutions, and have the enabling environment, we will take it a long way. So IDRC recognizes the space that Award occupies, and that's why we also want to support what is happening, and we keep supporting. So we right now, I think I consider that, Susan, as a new part of the new strategy, but we're trying to work with others again, because we don't do this work. When we fund, we don't fund alone, we fund with others, and we acknowledge them. So we were also trying to contribute towards the new strategy, but trying it's the discussions that are happening with Award, and of course with the leadership of Susan. We can write that Award, through the leadership of Award, a report on the status of African women in agri-food systems. You see, the one that she talked about is global, the FAO that Jemima also talked about, but zooming in to look at Africa, so that we can easily understand what our status is, and be able then, I see that it logs in with what is happening with the GRASP Fellowship, with the new strategy. It will be input that can help us to move further. So really thank you so much, Award, and thank you for inviting us to be part of this. We celebrate with you. Thank you so much for the good work that you're doing. I want also to mention that I am an Award fellow. Having gone through the Award Fellowship program, to me, which was very groundbreaking. And see, where I was seated, I wasn't seeing people. Now I can see the people that trained me. I can see, they are here. So and for me as a person, I think the Award training, some of the things that Dr. Siko talked about that were not emphasized, they actually appear in the leadership program. In some of those programs that you do, you find them. So you'll find the skills to do that within the programs, the way they run. So I attended the leadership fellow. I was a fellow for the leadership program, as a fellow for 2013-2014 cohort. And that changed me. It changed me. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of where I came from and to come and how that leadership program changed me. You see, I grew up in a community, in a peasant family, in a rural setting in Western Uganda. And growing in that way, I saw so many inequalities. I didn't know there were inequalities then. Probably I get the time to tell you why. But I saw the inequalities. I grew up in a family of many children, 9 of them. I was given away to live with different families, 2 families in a space of 5 years, from age 10, because my mom couldn't put up with us, all of us, couldn't especially educate all of us, so I had to go and live somewhere else. But I want to tell you that I followed 3 boys who were older than me, and me at 10 years, there are 3 boys older than me. They weren't given away. It was me who was given away. So you see, because anybody who wants a child to stay with, they want a girl because they can do work in the house. And boy probably will not do the work. So I saw that. I was in the same class with my brother, whom I follow. And when we passed for primary school, I saw the community coming home, not to congratulate us that we had done so well and had first grades, but to advise my mom, now that she can't afford the fees, she should dedicate the boy and leave me, because I would marry and in a different family and set up a different family altogether. So I saw the inequalities at that age, and when even both my parents passed, time for sharing land came, and I saw my uncles come to divide the land, and 4 girls, we were given a piece equivalent to the size of 1 boy. So it's not like these things are not happening and are not there, they're there. So I saw them, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't have solutions. It's the way we did things in our family. My uncle said, oh, in our family, don't give land to girls, but just because some of the older girls are not married, we give you land, but we combine you. So I knew it is the way things are done. Until I started work. When I was working, I came to interface with scientists that were really keen on gender, on addressing inequalities. And so they received us. Susan was one of them, Jemima, Pascal, and I worked with them. I had the opportunity to work with them. So you see where I'm coming from and where I am. And I thank them so much because they loved a group of young researchers growing up. So we worked with them, they loved us, they really motivated us, they trained us, they mentored us into gender-responsive approaches, and we started practicing. It's then that I saw that things can change. Oh, so these are even inequalities. You know the way things are done, these are things that must change. They are created by people, they can be gone. We worked in places, we worked in Malawi, and I saw things changing. We implemented projects, in East Africa. Things were changing, so I began to appreciate. So you see, even when inequalities exist, you still need solutions to address those inequalities. So it's not sufficient to know, but you need solutions. So they gave us tools to use, and we started doing work. And we saw that lives were changing, communities were changing, and people were having better livelihoods. So I began to live, and that's when I started my mentorship journey in getting the interest in addressing gender inequalities or in gender equality itself, wanting to achieve that. And it became a passion for me because it related to me, and I could see that it can help many others. But you see, when I changed positions and I went to a different organization, then they weren't keen. So if you talk about, though I knew now I had the content, if you talk about it, then they don't have a budget for it. Oh no, those participatory processes take a long time. Oh, we need to see quick results. So then my aspirations, even when I knew what to do, were being dampened, and I couldn't break through to go on. So I seemed to move ahead, to thrive, when the conditions were conducive, when I had the right people around, but when I was withdrawn from those people, things weren't working. So when a ward chooses to look at the institution, it's very varied. It's a good thing you are doing. Because however much you know this and the content you have and the skills you have, if the institution is not buying in, you're not going to make any progress. And then something happened after that. And then I became an award fellow. And then I was taken through the training. I was, we were given these skills. The thing that worked for me, Doreen talked about the purpose roadmap. We learned many things, but what worked for me was the purpose roadmap. To critically examine, look at myself, what was I going to do with these skills that I had gained and taking them forward. So I did my purpose roadmap. And I can tell you, those were 10 years ago, I have lived to that purpose roadmap. I have observed it. I have moved from position to position. I have done, it has helped me because through the word training, I got the confidence, I got the skills, the negotiation skills, the assertiveness. I looked at the skills I needed to develop along the way to move and through the different positions I needed to be. And to the extent that I remember very clearly, I had mapped skills in gender and in policy. And I went to gain skills there and to publish in that space if I needed to be able to be moving. So it really changed me from a timid girl brought down by circumstances to someone that can speak with confidence, that can, when I need it, I'll get it. I will speak for it. I will disturb you until I get it. And when I feel I can't take more, I will say no, because I didn't know how to say no. I kept adding on. So I really want to say thank you so much. at the model. I love the award model. I call it a one-stop shop. You come in, you go out transforming. So you get the skills training, you get the mentorship you need, you get the network that keeps you motivated and holds you accountable. What else do you need? The work is not done award. There is more work to do. We appreciate the space we are in, and we really appreciate the work that you are doing. And when it is possible, we can support. And for me, I also belong to the Ugaward country chapter, the Uganda country chapter. Thank you very much.
There you have it. You know what to do. Write your purpose roadmap. Now, you know, in my language, we say that repetition is emphasis. So at this point, we want to emphasize what the award strategy 2023-2027 is about. There might be questions later. You might get gifts. So if you can cue the video, we have a 3-minute video as we take an interlude. There's water at the back. If you need water, there's some desks at the back that have water. Feel free to take a bottle of water if you need one.
Rapid urbanization, population growth, rising incomes, and changing consumption patterns have caused a sharp increase in Africa's demand for food. At the same time, climate change, conflicts, and other global economic dynamics put the food security of millions of Africans, predominantly women and children, more at risk than ever. African agri-food systems require urgent transformation. But persisting gender inequalities continue to hinder Africa's equitable growth and plaguing its agri-food systems. These widespread gender inequalities stifle agricultural productivity and affect the well-being of families, societies, and national economies. Closing these gender gaps in agri-food systems would increase global GDP by about $1 trillion. It would also save 45 million people from food insecurity. At African Women in Agricultural Research and Development Award, we recognize the urgent need to intensify efforts towards addressing these challenges. We have identified and are addressing the gender inequalities at 3 levels. 1. The leaky pipeline of women in agriculture leadership. 2. A lack of gender responsiveness in agricultural research for development institutions. 3. Unequitable agri-food policies and unfavorable environments. We understand that supporting more women to grow into and stay in leadership is pivotal to unlocking their potential as change makers. We appreciate that institutions are crucial in shaping equitable agricultural-driven development. And we know that a conducive environment with the right policies and legal frameworks is crucial. That is why we are scaling the work we do toward gender-responsive agricultural research for development to drive equitable agri-food systems. Together with our partners, we are boldly confronting the gender gaps. Built on 3 pillars, each addressing a key facet of change, our strategy focuses on strengthening individual contribution by building a pipeline of confident, capable, influential women leaders and African researchers equipped to integrate gender in their work, accelerating the impact of institutions by supporting them to embrace gender-responsive policies and practices, fostering the creation of an enabling environment where policies are equitable and African women's voices are in the forefront in global and regional conversations. We are working towards reducing gender inequalities and delivering more equitable benefits for women and men smallholders in African agri-food systems. Our commitment to equitable agricultural-driven prosperity for Africa remains unwavering.
you, thank you. So we are now getting to the final segment of the program, and I'd like to invite Dr. Meredith Soul, the Inclusive Development Division Chief at the United States Agency for International Development. Dr. Meredith Soul.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here to represent USAID and proud of our 15-year relationship supporting Award, a true African-led organization. So 2 weeks ago, I had the honor to attend the World Food Prize and the Borlaug Dialogue events in Des Moines, Iowa. On the main stage at that event, the head of the bureau where I sit at USAID, Dina Esposito, spoke about USAID's commitment to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment, which we are calling GROW, or Generating Resilience and Opportunities for Women. We developed GROW as our response to the new FAO report that came out in April on the status of women in agri-food systems. That report showed a real lack of progress over the last 10 years for women in agri-food systems, and we don't want to see that again in the next 10 years. I think you've heard more than one speaker mention that report, so if you have not read it yet, you really need to do that. It is a seminal report. Again, it's the status of women in agri-food systems by FAO. You can Google that. You've seen, I think, in a number of these slides, statistics from that report. It's very important. So GROW is our commitment through Feed the Future to tackle the urgent challenges facing women in food and water systems by deepening and scaling our support to reach, benefit, and empower women. In the research programs that we fund, our assistant to the administrator, Esposito, highlighted the lessons we've learned that tell us that we need to give women the skills and opportunities to learn, to conduct research programs designed by, with, and for women, and to engage men and government leaders at all levels on the potential for all to win when women advance. And of course, this is where Award excels and why we are so proud to have been able to support Award since its inception and looking forward to what it's going to be doing over the course of this next strategy. So over those last 15 years, Award has established a reputation as a valued partner with high demand for its services. And you've heard so many of those stories today. I also want to mention a bit GRASP, or what we're calling the Gender Responsive Ag Systems Policy Program, which we co-created with Award, and is really, adding to that new element around policy. And those fellows, the GRASP fellows that are part of Award, are focusing on the policies within the agri-food systems environment that they think need changing, and then making that roadmap plan to how they are going to work on changing them. Also, we know Award has always been a learning organization, and Award's new strategy really shows that, and how they've carefully consulted and listened. And they're moving with ambitions beyond the fellowships, still continuing the fellowships, but to assisting the transformation of institutions and the policy environment to be gender-friendly and supportive for both women and men, because when women succeed, we all succeed. So I'm thrilled to support Award and to be part of their journey to the agri-food systems transformation in Africa. And thank you for all being here, and to also bringing your support so that 10 years from now, you are also making that change that we all want to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Soul, and to the USAID for their unwavering support over the years. Thank you. My next speaker is Dr. Kathy Khan from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
who has been with awards since our founding as well.
Thank you, Doreen, and thank you to everyone that's here. It's really great to have this turnout and to hear from all of you, and I'm just honored and delighted to be here on behalf of the Gates Foundation, and just personally too. So I want to congratulate Award on the new strategy, and I especially want to thank the speakers, our storytellers, because you shared yourselves with us, you shared your stories with us, and you embodied what Award does and has done, and we hope will continue to do, which is the empowerment that you have grasped in your own lives, you're sharing with others. And that's why we're so proud to have supported Award from the beginning of this journey, is because we know that it's through the empowerment that the people and the institutions who are involved with Award have received, that you will be much more responsive to the needs of farmers, and that you will be able to serve the needs of the continent's farmers, and that the change that Africa needs and is looking for is coming from you. It's coming from within the continent, it's coming from within the talent and the creativity and the commitment and the perseverance and the determination that you embody, that you have, that I'm inspired to receive from you as well. And it's that mutual commitment, and it's your smarts and it's your research and it's your hard work that is going to transform the lives of many African farmers and transform the continent. And that's why we're proud to be associated with you. We really appreciate the new strategy. And I want to thank everyone for being here, and just to say how pleased we are, to partner with many other groups. It's very inspiring to hear from IDRC. I want to especially thank USAID and Meredith, who's getting to retire after tremendous commitment, to serving women in development. And I also want to thank Vicky Wild, my colleague at the Gates Foundation, who started with Award. When Vicky joined the Gates Foundation, I became the program officer. But I actually reviewed the very first proposal in whenever that was, 2008. And so it's wonderful to be here today, and I thank everyone for their commitment. And I really love this new, this new kind of symbol that you have. And I was thinking it's kind of playful, but it's almost like this kind of frisbee, thing that somehow we all need to be part of and to play with and to grasp, because we can all find ourselves in it. And it's going to take commitment and contribution from everyone that has the opportunity to participate, to keep this going and to see the transformation coming in the future. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for being a strong supporter of Award since our founding. And yes, we have an opportunity to interact with Will after this. You can even start interacting with it now. I'll give you permission though. But after this, when we get to the cocktail, there'll be a chance to interact with it more, right? Okay, thank you, Kathy. All right, so I would like to invite Dr. Pascal Sanginga. Dr. Pascal Sanginga, the Regional Sector Manager for Agriculture and Agro-Industry at the Africa Development Bank, AFDB.
Thank you very much, Doreen. And my big sister, Segedet, it's so nice to see you. And actually, she's one of the inspiring African leaders we've seen in agriculture research. And myself, I remember, 2000 as a postdoc in SIAT, and going to Colombia, Cali at that time, and then seeing we have a big sister, one of the top scientists in SIAT. That was actually something that inspired us, and we're so grateful to see you around, Segenet. My name is Pascal Sanginga, as Doreen said. Actually, I'm not sure why I'm here. Because I know the bank. The African Development Bank, is not one of the funders of Award. Of course, we know at some point you had a small grant through our gender program. But I'm here, I believe, for three main reasons. One, of course, for AFDB. And I would like to state clearly that we are committed as the bank to really gender equality and women empowerment. This is one of our key, I would say, outcomes we would like to see in the program we finance. So gender equality and women empowerment is really central to the work we do in the bank. And all our projects are screened for gender equality and women empowerment. And we have different level of empowerment we are looking for, and I'll come back to that. The second reason I believe I'm here is because also, of course I'm not an awards fellow, but I believe, I'm actually a gender scholar, gender scientist. And my journey with gender actually started in 1993, September, when I was doing my master's. And my master's was actually on gender analysis and adoption of technologies. And then I was just looking at gender, man 1, woman 0. And you put that in SPSS, in TASTA, and then you get some variable, you get very good regression, and then but then I learned quickly, talking to farmers, that, of course we talk about challenges, inequalities, and so on, but I have to realize that there are quite a number of opportunities that actually women are realizing. And I decided to do my PhD then on looking at those opportunities that actually women are getting by adopting technologies. So I did my PhD at IITA, looking at the social impact of technologies, especially on women, on gender relations. And I'm telling you, I really saw quite a lot. And I believe, of course, challenges are always there. Inequalities will always be there in some ways. Of course, we have to reduce them. But there are quite a number of opportunities that we need to focus on as well. So my line of research in gender has always been looking at opportunities. And that's one of the things we are trying to do in the bank right now. How do we harness opportunities and invest more in women businesses, for example, in women, technology solutions? That's one of the things we would like to do in the bank. And then, of course, 2000, I remember in Cali on a Sunday, sitting there, and then I see this, African woman come in, and that was Susan. So my junior, Susan actually started in 2000. We worked on the same program, the participatory research and gender analysis. And then I moved on, and then, of course, now at the bank. So, one, I'm here because naturally I should be here. Secondly, because also, I believe in awards, in the work we are doing. And I will tell you how inspiring, the stories we had here today. And I was just thinking, that could be a good investment program. That could be actually a big program we should go and sell to the government, to the investors, to really invest in some of these interesting stories we had here today. And then I'll come to the work we'd like to do at the bank, and some of the areas I believe you awards, you should probably try to venture in. One, we are quite comfortable talking to each other here, scientists. I probably talk to NAS, and you influence policies in different ways. But I believe really where you're going to have the most impact is influencing investments. Let me just give an example. With AFDB, the World Bank, IFAD, we are committing to invest about $72 billion to support the country, what we call country foods and agriculture delivery compact. So plans by the countries to really transform agriculture, $72 billion. We had a big summit in Dakar, the developed plans. We have 41 of them, chaired by heads of states, and it was really exciting. But when you look at them, 41 of them, they are all gender blind. And my question was, where were these award fellows? Are they talking to the Minister of Finance, who decide on investments? Are they talking to the Minister of Agriculture, who will say, this is where we're going to put our money? Or we are talking to the DG of NARO? Or we are talking to the DG of CARO? So I guess the challenge I'm putting to awards, start talking to the Minister of Finance. Talk to the people who make decisions on investments. And I believe really if we want to change, to improve in terms of gender equality and women empowerment, we really have to go in that space of investments. So my hope will be maybe the next 5 years, could we have 10% or 20% of those 72 billion really delivering outcomes for women? So how do we work with award to make that happen? So that's one. I guess secondly, quite impressive to see the networks you've built. So talking about 1,800 scientists. And I worked at RDRC. This again, one of the institutions where actually when you went around, we were very proud. Because everywhere you went, they would tell you, I got a grant from RDRC. I got my PhD funded by RDRC, my research and so on. So we're so proud. And what we did actually is to do a tracer study. Our fellows you are supporting, where are they? What have they done? So part of your strategy, maybe you may want to consider looking at that tracer study to see, and some of the outcomes we're talking about here, document that. I guess the third point for me, and then going back to the bank, what we are looking for right now, we are also finalizing our 10-year strategy. And in relation to gender, I said clear commitments on gender equality and women empowerment. Right now, our board is telling us we are doing very well in terms of mainstreaming gender. But going forward, we want to see gender outcomes. So moving from mainstreaming, having women involved and so on, to clearly demonstrate the impact of bank financing on women, on gender equality. And again, to do that, we need scientists. We need researchers, we need leaders to be able to lead the way. So when we design programs in the bank, and the whole bank has the same as well, we see a very clear correlation between the analytics you're actually using and the quality of the project, the quality of outcomes. But what we see, we still have very weak, I would say, analytics in terms of gender. One of the things, again, when I see proposal, I always see those statements that I use for my master's and PhD. Women don't have access to land, and of course we know that. So for me, it's really, how can we work with you in this group and work with countries to be able to have some very strong analytics? The same type we have on this state of women in agri-food systems. As Edida said, can we have that analysis done for Africa? Can we have done for East Africa, where, for example, that's a region So we'll be keen to discuss with you, Award. Can we really start having those analyses done for countries, for regions, so at least we know when we are investing where we are going to direct the investments. And finally, in terms of our commitment also is the issue of data and statistics. So how do we make sure that we actually have data and statistics that hopefully demonstrate that actually we're having impact on gender equality and women empowerment? So again, that's an area that I believe awards, could consider as, part of your contribution. But clearly, we at the African Development Bank, we are committed to gender equality and women empowerment, and we really want to see opportunities of working with awards, not as an institution, but more as a network of partners, of experts that can support government to design very good programs. And then we can always say that award has had a hand in making this $72 billion we're talking about really, benefiting women, African women, and African scientists. So excited, and I hope we'll probably start a journey with you, awards. And colleagues here, I see the director of ICRISAT, we've had some discussions. So let's find those solutions that actually are going to work for women, and let's try to scale them through investments. So again, congratulations for the good, strategy, and we look forward to, working with you and, colleagues in this room in terms of really supporting our countries to develop some impactful investment programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanginga, for assuring us of your partnership and for sharing your wisdom and ideas on how we can operationalize the strategy and make it richer. All right, we are now getting to the end of this program, and I would like to invite Professor Latif Sani, who is the chair of our steering committee. And Professor Latif, take it away.
Yeah. A round of applause to all of us, please. I'm very, very happy and excited to be here today. I was very happy with some of the stories that cut across every one of us, And we have all demonstrated that, yes, you can come from a lower background, but you can rule the world. And this has been a very good opportunity. We have also demonstrated that you have to ride on the shoulders of somebody before you get there. But when you get there, somebody reminded us that we should not remove the ladder that took us up. That is what is the most important thing in Africa. We keep on talking of Bill Gates. We keep on talking of Rockefeller. We keep on talking of some of these colleagues in another climb. They rose to the ladder. They sustain the ladder. They keep on building the foundations of the ladder. Who in Africa can we talk about? Food for thought to every one of us. And that is the most important element of sustainability. I'm very happy now the African Development Bank has seen what we are doing. And they've seen that we are yet to have the pathway, inroad to the national leadership of African government. I'm a Nigerian, very powerful professor in Nigeria. And I've worked with Dr. Kiwumi Adesina. I'm a mentee of Dr. Saginga in Tehran, immediate past Deputy Director General of IITA. If you can help a world to get to our ministers in Africa, to allow us to strengthen the ladder that is carrying them, then we will say 2050, Africa can feed Africans. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get to them. As I'm talking to you, professor of almost how many years? 2008 and now, how many years? I have not talked about my years before professor. Professor, 2008, now, to have access to one minister, they are always in a hurry. I'm telling you, always. Oh, director, can you please summarize everything? As if, after that, they want to do something serious. Then you see another thing, it's just social. Then we keep quiet and just go. Because knowledge can never, ever bow to whoever does not need it. We'll keep quiet and just go. Whereas, I met Bill and the woman, Bill and Melinda, in 2008 in Abuja, just following the former Director General of Adas Atma. And we were talking, we were chatting, and Bill was jotting down what I was saying. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for this good point. Bill himself attempted to any minister in Nairobi. So we need to talk to ourselves. African Development Bank, you are pumping money to Africa. I was 2008 best technology developer in Africa, CG Center, so that you know me. That money, billions of dollars, I keep on hearing every day. I do not know whether we have impact if we do not come back to the citadel of knowledge to be part of that interventions. It's very important. You have done your part to create access to fund. But are we using the fund in Africa to benefit Africans and to strengthen the sustainable food development in Africa? This is a very good call, and you have called us. A word is coming. We will come to you. You will tutor us and guide us. I can bet to you that we have available human resources all over Africa today. Available. Sheila, where are you? Where is my Nairobi woman? Where is Sheila? Well, please stand up. I mean, you are number one goal I use for award fellows. Eminently qualified, an expert, and we have them, as I'm calling her out. I can mobilize 500 of them in Zambia, in Malawi, anywhere you need it. Just ask the African leaders, country ministers, ask them, are you working with them? It is no. Mama Lusiki we met long time ago. And she's been like this, but how much access to the ministers. It's very important, sir, because I know African Development Bank is investing heavily in African countries today. Yes, I can talk of SAPZ in Nigeria, and I can talk of billions of dollars we keep on hearing. It has to be useful to all of us. And it's presently, I'm not seeing how it is being useful to the generality of the Africans. I'm sorry to digress. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been chairman of steering committee for 4 years. And I've been with award since 2009. I mentored 6 award fellows in Africa, 5 in Nigeria and 1 in Zambia. And it's time to begin to wind down, because by award tradition, you are expected to spend only 6 years. But mine is becoming an exceptional. So by June next year, by God's grace, I will step down as the chairman of the steering committee. I have a very strong colleague, a mentor of award, Deputy Director General of IRI, and somebody that is also eminently qualified to lead every one of us, and she has demonstrated this is passionate, dynamic, industrious, and erudite researcher in our own field. Boni Moyo, please come out. She's resuming now as the vice chair of award, and by June we'll meet to now do another final transition by God's grace. Congratulations. So we want you to say a few words. Thank you.
When the chair has spoken, I don't have to say much. Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be before you on this special day when we are here to congratulate Award on launching a new strategy. But it is also a moment to reflect. We are launching this strategy. You've seen the video. Africa is still facing food and nutrition insecurity. And this is happening at a time when the population is growing very fast. We have a young population, people who have the energy, but when they are hungry, what are we going to do with them? But we also continue to face a climate crisis. So tough times, hard times, demand innovations. They demand new ideas. They demand a vision. So Award, this is our charge to Award today, to say as you recommit for the next 5 years and beyond, put on your boots, tighten your belt, and continue to lead on this great mission and vision. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the people that have shared their stories. It is a journey. It's 15 years since Award was born. I think I'm one of those that are privileged to have been part of that journey in one way or the other. I was one of the mentors for the first cohort. I mentored Mozambican scientists. Then I was based in Mozambique with ILRI. I must say I'm where I am today because of that. I received women's leadership course training. I was trained in negotiation skills. I was trained in many things by Award. So this is the impact of Award, and you've heard other stories today. So let's congratulate Award. Chair, you didn't warn me, but I'm wearing 2 hats. I bring you greetings from ILRI and the CGIR. The CGIR is a partnership of international agricultural research centers that envision a food secure future. We, through our work, contribute to the attaining in the future of the Sustainable Development Goals. We seek to transform food, land, and water systems through our work. And gender work is integral to that. And the CGR has had a very productive and wonderful relationship with award. CGR has benefited a lot from the women leadership training. It has been a sort of a rite of passage, as award is the only one doing it. We have several examples. I can see some of them in the room here smiling. And ILRI and the CGR is proud to have worked with award as mentors for some of the researchers. We have opened up our facilities for the attachment programs for our award mentees. And we continue to collaborate with award, mainly through the CGR Gender Platform. And I'm happy to say the director for the CGR Gender Platform, Dr. Nicolene Dehan, is here in the room. Hi, Nicolene. And award has delivered a special course for some of our young gender researchers. So this relationship will continue. We are here to congratulate you and recommit that we are working together on this journey. Again, congratulations. The work ahead is big. Let's just tighten our belts. I want to take the opportunity to thank award steering committee, award friends, award family, the funders, everyone who is a friend of award. You are very much thanked this afternoon. I thank you.
You have started the work. So,
is that how you mentor people?
Doreen, please come. Yeah, we're about to wrap up, and we need to do one small ceremony. And so we invite Okay. My colleagues from the steering committee, starting from Meredith, she's most senior in the steering committee. Please come out. Please, a round of applause to Meredith, please. My friend Kathy, please come out. Oliver, please come out. Oliver enjoyed the steering committee such that he came as a donor, he stepped down, and he automatically became member of steering committee. It was wonderful working with you. In fact, he transited us from Anglophone into Anglophone plus Francophone. And so please, you have to... Justin, please. Justin, come out, please. This is another very good cerebral colleague in the steering committee. So, sorry. He's the director of WAVE in Côte d'Ivoire. So, Hortense, please come out. Hortense, Judith. That's another award fellow, big leader in our team. And of course, who else? I hope I'm not missing anybody again. I know. Apart from that, is there anybody I'm missing that you feel you're a member of steering committee that I've not called? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to allow the mentor of mentors to come to the high table. When we were recruiting for directors, I must tell you, it was a very tough process. Transparent, open, critical, and we have to adjourn and reconvene, adjourn and reconvene. Because by the time Susan portfolio came, it was serious. And and later I found out why it was. She's been mentor of mentors. Before she's trying to now say, okay, let me come back home and join the award team. And I think since when she resumed, it's been so positive, and the progress is all what we've been seeing. The networking is keep on growing, and everybody keep on showing interest in award. And you've seen it from my colleague, who is an international scientist in IDRC, how she also related to it. So I want to congratulate you, and we want to thank you for keeping the excellence of award. So now we want to honorably invite you to join this august body, the steering committee of award. Susan Carrier. Now, I will also need to call another colleague who actually she has been tested, trusted, maturing, growing, and contributing, and moving. By the time somebody told me, today, actually, this is a very critical fellow, and she's the one driving the operations of our world of today, because we've restructured the governance structure. Apart from the director, it is the deputy director. It is the deputy director that is now in charge of training and operations. So programs. And that's why I want to call Michelle to come to the high table. Very simple, easygoing. What other?
She's absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. And elegant. There is another one in the award that you people gave her. Very thorough. She doesn't want any mistake. No mistake. Am I correct? No mistake. We have to check everything up to the end. I hope we have not made any mistake today. Thank you very much, Michelle, for keeping the award family, the award house. Unity is the most important thing. You can't achieve anything. If there's no unity, that's the end of it. So that unified force is what we need. Then our speakers. Edida, Lusiki Mama, my mentor.
Nora.
Yes, I like your presentation. At least today you show evidences. When you say you have shaken hands, picture was there. I like it. I stood up immediately. That is it. Evidence-based interaction. Thank you very much, ma'am. All our speakers, who have I missed? Please, sir, my senior Oga, you have to come. Dr. Saginga. ECP director, where are you? ECP director. Former members. I need to call Mama out.
Which one? Salome?
Yes.
Let Segenet come. And
Segenet, that's, please.
And
Rebi, please come. Dr. Rebi. Yeah. Who else again?
And then we need to bring
Ikraf. The director just left, so you need to represent the director. Bruce, please. Apart from that, you need to come out, please. You were one-time member of steering committee. Marie, that is my girlfriend, but I forgot the name. Don't mind me. I'm getting old, small by small. How are you, man? Huh? Is that all? You know, because it's gender, somebody represent one CG here professionally. So, Nicolene, you need to come out. Yes, because you know why you have seen the strategy. 1/4 of this is under your desk. We are coming to you. Please, a round of applause to her. She coordinates the gender research in one CG today. And it's very important you join us. Yeah. Who else have we missed? No, but what about Nauga? You should join us now. Sir, you need to join us on the high table. You are very, yes, it's very important. I can't have you there and you are seated, and at least now that you are also. You didn't give me copy, so we won't do it too. Okay, now that you have given it to me, ladies and gentlemen, where are you? Now we want to launch the strategy document. Now we are going to do countdown of award. Yeah, from A to W, from A to R, from D. If not that all of you have seated so much, I will have called my boss to come and do the exercise for you. How you spell A, how you spell this, and then we. Now, but we just do it, as I said, we follow. Now, let us all start. You are too far from me, my first chair. So, A for Africa. Africa. We are spelling award, so it's our name. A for Africa. W for Women. A for R for research, and D for now launch. Yes.
Jerusalem, ikayalami, ilondoloze. Uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana Nolose zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami ilondoloze Zungangishilana ilondoloze 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 zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana.
Thank you very much. Round of applause. If you go to the back, you can scan the document. The strategic document is there. Scan it from this now. You will see it there, so that you save your soft copy, and let us start to use it. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of, you can sit down, please. On behalf of the steering committee of award, staff, stakeholders of award, our former director, Dorothy, and co, please, yeah, I just saw your face now. Mariam, where are you? Yes. On behalf of all of us, all the elders, where is Saidi, the youngest staff in award? Where are you? Yes. We want to present this vote of thanks. We want to thank every one of you for believing in award and for supporting award, especially our donors. Everybody keep on citing Bellagio meeting, and up to now Kathy remember too, she has also, from the beginning of award, she also made, and that's why when you see their contributions, you see that passion and forthrightness. So we want to thank every one of you. Our speakers for today, we thank you very much, especially our upcoming One Planet fellows. We thank you for these stories that you have given us. The fellows, mentors, mentees that are here, we thank you. The chapter chairman, my own chapter chairman from Nigeria is here, Professor Fawole, so that I'll be able to travel back home. Please help me clap for her. The deans of students and students of Jomo Kenyatta University and Kenyatta University itself, we have that partnership, and we thank you. And Janet, and Wihaki, various service providers, the hotel, they've been so wonderful feeding us and also giving us services that we need. I've talked about Dorothy, I've talked about Mariam, Stephen, and Stephen too. We want to thank all of you for your service to award. Our consultants, some of our mentors and fellows are also part of our consultancy team today. Our A team are also here. Where is that, my friend? A team. Where are the A teams? Yeah. Yes. Aha. Thank you very much. Please, round of applause. So we want to thank every one of you. I must, our DG C4, ICRAF, I was very, very happy meeting her, and because I've heard about her, and when I saw her, the dynamism came almost equal, the two of us. And you know what I did? I browsed through her profile. I went straight to the internet to read about her, and I read about her, and I was so moved. Apart from Dr. Intenya Saginga, that is the first African Director General of one of the CG centers, that's IITA. She's the second now in Africa. Round of applause. She's the first woman in Africa to be Director General. To be Director General is a very good, eminently qualified. She had over 35 years in Canada, where she has served in the industries and universities. So it was the best choice for us. And we will work with her, and we'll work with ICRAF. Thank you very much. Please extend our courtesy to her, and we'll discuss more later. The DG ECP with ICRISAT, where is Shali Tarawali? Sorry, ma. I served under her husband in 2006, Gapsi Tarawali, when I was post-harvest scientist in IITA. And we met during the wedding of one of your children in Abuja. You are welcome. Thank you very much to everybody. USID colleague, I just met you today. We thank you. We welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to especially thank Doreen. Where are you? Please come. Objectively speaking, she's not doing communication job alone. Because all these documentations we see colorful and everything elegant, you know, it takes a lot of energy and interest. We want to, on behalf of everybody. I know Fikiwad, we always like to see it colorful. We've been consistent since 2008, and we want to thank you. And please keep it up. And when next I meet you, I want to see other younger ones that will take over from you. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have our Undersecretary in Steering Committee, Karen. Please, ma'am, please come out. Retired, but not tired. When she comes out, she will know that she's like my mother. Please, round of applause to her. Every time we have steering committees, she's always there typing everything so that we will not miss it. We want to thank you. And finally, I think I'm done. I want to thank, who else? I want to thank all the travel agents that award has been using that make sure that we arrive here safely and we depart safely. And my cameraman, I thank you for your job. Thank you very much. Bye. Progress to award and progress to everybody.
Prof. Latif was standing between us and more fun. So thank you so much, Prof. Latif. Thank you. A warm thank you for leading us through that segment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to have fun, right? Yeah, the fun part now starts properly. So please do join us outside for the cocktail session that is served just outside here. Get to meet new people, get to share your what you have been to, tell each other about your purpose roadmaps or whatever, but also more importantly, get to interact with the strategy. And yes, asante sana for gracing our event.
Ukimaliza kunywa pombe, peleka maisha pole pole, dajipe mwenyewe zitoke. Kunywa maji, ukimaliza maisha pole pole, dajipe mwenyewe zitoke. Songa ugali, foundation weka ya samaki, katikati ya Januari, kula ukasirishe kamati. Twanga ugali, foundation weka ya samaki.
Please don't leave the headsets that we were using for interpretation. Just leave them on the chair. Remember to leave the headsets on the chair. Fungwa pia mushipi ajili ya tumbo, usiogope kukula jasho ya